The legend, Dick Trickle, said of racing high bank short tracks, it's like, ow, oh, flying jet fighters in a gymnasium.
It sure is, Mike.
Jeremy Mayfield said, racing at Bristol is like spending 3.5 hours in a clothes dryer. And by the time you're done, somebody's lost a sock or two. So let's bring in our crew chief, Larry McReynolds. Larry, you got a very small box of adjustments. And as Kyle said, no practice, no qualifying, a lot of question marks.
And Mike, when you're trying to make adjustments or changes, a caution lap goes by about as quick as a race lap. And the last thing I want to do is make adjustments that's going to slow my pit stop down.
And Larry, I'm out there running 15-second laps. My heart rate is through the roof. The adrenaline, I'm frustrated with my competitors. My race car is constantly changing. And you're going to tell me I got to come to a different pit road under green than caution? My head's spinning right now.
Jeff, help me help you. I've got a lot on my plate. I'm trying to make adjustments to a race car that's not turned a single practice lap. Plus, also, you're giving me feedback that's changing about every 10 laps. You don't have to work with me. Just don't work against me, please.
Boys. We're going to go to Van Sant, Virginia, and the Van Sant Church of Christ. Here is Pastor Mike Rife with today's invocation.
Let us pray. God, we know that you can bring peace to the troubled, comfort to the hurting, restoration to the broken, and protection to the oppressed, and unity to the divided. And God, we seek you for these things today for our homes and for our nation. Peace, comfort, restoration, protection, and unity. And these things do not come from the outside, but they come from within our own hearts. We thank you for this race, its host and its sponsor. In Jesus' name, amen.
To perform our national anthem, here is platinum-selling international recording artist, singer-songwriter Edwin McCain.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say was that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
What an awesome live flyover. That's the U.S. Air Force Heritage Flight Team with an F-22 Raptor and 2 World War II P-51 Mustangs. Thunder Valley has hosted stock cars since 1961. There's Petty Pearson Yarborough et al., and it has always been a sight of excitement. Here are some of today's headlines as we get ready to race in Bristol. 5th race back in the season. Kyle Busch has not won in this 4-race stretch. He has 8 wins here. Jimmy Johnson's longest win streak of his career was 24. This one's at 103. Chase Elliott, after 2 big misses and 1 big win, rolls into Bristol. Tyler Reddick's caught everybody's notice, and he likes it here. And a breakout for Alex Bowman, who's already been to victory lane. So, who's got the hot hand? What driver is punching above his weight? Who are all eyes on? Here's Matt Yoakum with the answer.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. always brings excitement here to Thunder Valley, a pair of second-place finishes. And, Ricky, you told your team that it was important to get a great run in Charlotte before Bristol. Why?
Well, we were on a downhill slide there pretty quick the first 3 races back, but we definitely had a really solid run at Charlotte with our Kroger Camaro. Looking to do the same thing here. It's going to be treacherous out there to start with no rubber on the racetrack, but it's Bristol. I love it here. Got a couple second-place finishes. Looking to get one step better.
Thanks, Ricky.
Mr. Excitement. Ricky Stenhouse. Hey, you want something exciting? Try this. You can win cash during today's race. Download the Fox Bet Super 6 app. Play for free. Correctly pick how 6 drivers will finish. And the rollover is now up to $70,000. Come on.
$70,000?
Somebody hit this thing.
Well, I'm ready. I've got a few on my list of ones to watch here, Mike. Now, I'm not saying that I'd place a Fox bet for these to win today, but they'll certainly could surprise a lot of people. The first one is Matt Dibenedetto. Last August, Matt led 93 laps, finished second at Bristol, just coming up short, and now moves over to the Wood Brothers. Can he continue that success? Another driver, one of our rookies, Christopher Bell. He's a short track ace who loves Bristol. He won one of the Xfinity races last April. And don't forget, he's driving for Bob Levine Racing, the Levine family racing, that car that Matt D finished second. And Tyler Reddick, another one of these rookies that just loves this racetrack. Impressive run earlier at one of our shorter tracks at Phoenix. I expect him to be impressive again here today at Bristol.
And Chase Elliott kept everybody up late in Dawsonville Thursday night when the siren went off. Let's go to the state capitol in Nashville.
Hey everybody, Tennessee Governor Bill Lee here. From Bristol to Memphis, it's NASCAR time in Tennessee. Drivers, start your engines.
And there's the Thunder in Thunder Valley. Bristol, where the state line runs right down Main Street. Birthplace of country music and where everybody's a race fan. We're ready to race on FS1. Well, this place is just full of all-time greats.
Bristol, let me hear you. Are you ready? I'm a bad man. Ain't my fault. It's all I got. It's so bad, man. But you can't change me 'cause you make me. I'm a bad man.
We're ready to race in Thunder Valley. First short track event of the season, and it is a perfect day.
Gorgeous.
If only we could be there. You know, we walk around
No,
Bristol.
Mike, when we're there, then the clouds come in.
With
It's cold and
umbrellas.
snowing.
Well, it must be us. 74 degrees and sunny. Look at this tight, tough, steeply banked half-mile speedway. And they pit on both sides of this track. And the pitting rules are different depending whether you're under caution when everybody enters at turn 2 and everybody exits at turn 1. But under green, Jeff, you enter and leave on the same side as your pit box.
Did you have to remind me? One of the biggest blunders I've ever had, Mike, is at this racetrack under green trying to pit. And you just have so much going on in your mind. You're focused on making those laps on the track. You're not focused on where my pit stall is, what entry I need to come down, and where I need to exit to get out on the track. Very challenging thing to do.
Let's have a look at our Pizza Hut starting grid for today. The top 12 in points drew for spots. That puts Fords on the front row. Brad Keselowski, 2-time Bristol winner. Eric Almirola's best finish here is 3rd. Fords also filled row 2. 2-time winner Joey Logano and Ryan Blaney, who's finished 3rd the last 2 races this year. Toyota and a Chevy in row 3. Martin Truex Jr., the only active champ without a Bristol win, and Chase Elliott, who finally got the W Thursday night in Charlotte. Kyle Busch, 8-time Bristol winner. Kevin Harvick's been to victory lane here twice. Matt Dibenedetto led 93 laps last fall, finished 2nd to Denny Hamlin. They start side by side row 5. Row 6, Alex Bowman, best Bristol finish of 5th, and Kurt Busch, a 6-time Bristol winner. William Byron looking for his second top 10 finish of the year. Matt Kenseth has won here 4 times. Eric Jones, the summer 17 runner-up after leading more than half the race. And as Matt said, Ricky Stenhouse finished second here twice. Ryan Newman has 3 top 10s in his last 5 starts here. And John Hunter Nemechek makes his Bristol Cup debut. Chris Buescher finished a Bristol best 5th in 2016. Austin Dillon coming off his second top 10 finish of the year. Tyler Reddick, the Xfinity winner here last August, and Cole Custer, 2 rookies in row 11. 2 veterans in row 12. Again, draw for positions 11 through 24. Clint Boyer and Jimmy Johnson got the tough draw. Johnson's a 2-time Bristol winner. Then a draw for positions 25 through 36 among car owner points. Michael McDowell and Bailey Curry in the 13th row. You'll have Joey Gase and Quinn Houff coming out of row number 14. Row 15, Ty Dillon and Greg Galding. And row 16, Garrett Smithley after a tough night in Charlotte, and Corey LaJoie. Then the non-charter cars, Ryan Preece, April 18th, Xfinity winner here, and Brennan Poole, a rookie. Row 18, rookie Christopher Bell and Bubba Wallace. And I'm sorry, then come the non-charter cars. Daniel Suarez, who finished 8th in both Bristol races last year, and Timmy Hill, who brought out the mystery caution at Charlotte when he ran out of gas and they had to push him to the pits. Finally, row 20 will be B.J. McLeod and J.J. Yaley, a Ford and a Chevrolet.
Mike, you can see they've taken half the field, run them down pit road to check their pit road speed. Here comes the second half of the field. Because there's no practice, there's no chance to test out that pit road speed. So this is their one and only opportunity to do so. And this is one of the toughest pit roads. It's very long. You have to run through the corner. There's areas where you can speed up and areas you need to slow down. Just another one of the many challenges here at Bristol.
Who you want to talk to?
I want to talk to Denny Hamlin. Won here at Bristol the last time we were here. Hey, Denny, this is Jeff and Mike in the Fox Studios. You got us?
That was 4.
Let's see if we can't try him one more time. Hey, Denny Hamlin, Jeff and Mike here at the Fox Sports Studios. You got a copy? Okay, looks like...
Well, we heard some chatter on the channel. They may have switched channels after we confirmed the audio hookup.
Yeah, we'll do some checking and see if we can't get back to Denny before we go back green.
2 drivers have to drop to the rear due to inspection issues, Greg Galding and Ryan Preece. Larry Mack?
Yeah, Mike, a few years ago, Bristol Motor Speedway was the first track to use a traction compound. It's to increase the grip, and it's around the bottom of the racetrack, about 4 feet off the bottom, around both ends, and it should create 2 grooves of racing. But with no practice, who's going to venture down there and test it first without any heat in it? Now let's take a look at our race analysis. We're going to go 500 laps, 266 miles. The stage lengths 125, 125, 250 to the end. Watch this one here closely. Pit road speed 30 miles per hour. There were 22 pit road speeding penalties combined the 2 races last year. The fuel window 150 to 160 laps. 2 competition cautions at lap 20 and lap 60. And Mike, the rule is you cannot fuel the car until that first competition caution at lap 20.
Larry, it's kind of rare that we see 2 competition cautions. So let's check in with Matt Yoakum on pit road.
Now, Mike, you're right. It is the perfect day, but Ryan Blaney told me the key today is to not chase the perfect race car. Be compromising. Focus more on the smaller areas. A great pit stall here on the backstretch in turn 3. Keep your eye on the 12. Maybe today's his day. He gets his first Bristol Cup trophy.
Blaney coming off double 3rd place finishes in Charlotte, coming off 4 finishes outside the top 15 prior to that.
I'm really anxious to see when these drivers hit that traction compound the first couple laps, when it doesn't have any heat in it, doesn't have really any rubber laid down on it, what kind of grip it has, because you have to make a choice and you've got to be committed to that choice. Whatever line you take going into the first couple corners, you're driving in there so hard and fast. If it doesn't stick, it's trouble.
Any surprise that Brad Keselowski, our pole sitter, would choose the outside.
No, because I think he just has questions about that traction compound, so he wants to be away from it for the first couple laps and be in that middle lane. But I think, we're going to see cars gravitate down to that bottom lane right away.
Lights are out on the safety car. It's going to dive to pit road, and we're going short track racing.
Oh, yeah.
For the first time in 2020. Green flag in Bristol.
Bumper, clear. Blaney got clear. Blaney is clear. One behind. Now Joey's moved up and got clear behind him. Two ahead. Split down just a headlight all the way to the PJ. One behind by one.
Well, you can see why those guys chose that outside lane. Eric Almirola, who sat on the front row, is all the way back to what, 5th, 6th spot.
One car already got up into the wall between 3 and 4 at the back of the pack, but we stay green.
And I didn't see a big moment out of Eric Almirola. It just didn't have grip. Now, there was a big moment right there in front of Eric Almirola. I think that's the 19 of Truex jumped sideways. Kyle Busch, oh, yeah,
wow.
You can see there's just no grip down there on the bottom.
He tried it. He didn't like it.
Oh, Matt Kenseth has an issue. He's up high. Gets shuffled back. 4-time winner here at Bristol. 3 wide.
Well, you don't often see that here for good reason.
Well, you don't see it for long, no matter what.
No.
It's either going to be a caution or...
Another 3 wide battle. Cole Custer was on the inside of that one. He's got Alex Bowman behind him in the 88.
I think something consistent that you heard from drivers before we started going racing is how quickly things are going to change. Larry McReynolds talked about it too. So everything you're seeing right now, just give it a few laps and it's going to completely be different. Kyle Busch now rolling to the outside of Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
All right, let's check with Matt on Kyle Busch.
Combining minds, combining the notes. That's what you heard Kyle Busch say in our pre-race interview. Right now, he's running in the middle of the racetrack. If you go back to last August when they ran the night race here, conditions are very similar. Remember, we're a month later than we normally are, and there's a caution on the racetrack.
Caution is out for Ryan Newman.
Not seeing any damage yet.
He was running 22nd.
Well, we saw he was one of those drivers that was 3 wide earlier with William Byron.
He had been running on the inside, Jeff, trying to gain some ground. Let's see here.
Looks like
turn 1.
By himself, dives to the bottom, just hooks some of that traction compound, and it just turns around on him. Again, Mike, you're committed. You dive in there, and when you get to the center of the corner, you're going back wide open. If the back end steps out, it's very difficult to catch it.
Now, we have a competition caution coming at lap 20, as Larry told you. Teams cannot fuel at this point. First yellow flag of the day didn't take long. Brad Keselowski from the pole is your leader. Welcome back to Fox Sports coverage of the Supermarket Heroes 500, presented by Food City. Longtime sponsor of Bristol Motor Speedway. And we're coming to green after the first caution for Ryan Newman's spin. Quinn Houff had pitted, and he got the free pass. We're going to listen to Ryan Blaney's spotter, Josh Williams, from the inside of the front row.
We know that didn't work out too well for Eric Almirola. Now they've got some heat in the tires. Let's see how it works out for Blaney.
Still even. Still there. They're about half. Clear. Outside 10 and 1.
Christopher Bell picked up 10 spots before the caution flag. Now he's grabbed another 4. He is flying in that 95.
Well, and I expected him to fly. He loves this racetrack. I mean, the kid is just so smooth and loves to attack these high bank corners. Oh, look at this battle for the lead up front here with Truex and Keselowski going at it. Oh, big! You saw the back of the 2 car right there get really loose into turn 1.
Martin Truex has won on NASCAR's short tracks in the Cup Series, but not Bristol.
Yeah, he got that first short track win at Martinsville last year. Took him a while. Boy, he's all over the rear bumper. Keselowski putting a lot of pressure on him.
Top 10 single file. Then it's pretty much 2 and occasionally 3 wide from there on back.
And I like what I saw to Martin Truex that last time. He used that left side to get into that traction compound, and it stuck on the exit of the corner. He's staying away from it into the center, but the exit, I think it might work for him. Only a couple laps left here before that competition caution.
11th place. 2 champions, Johnson and Kenseth.
Yeah, nice job of Jimmy Johnson to come from that 24th starting position, starting that outside row, made up a lot of spots.
He's picked up 4 since the restart. Okay, we'll cycle through lap 20. And then NASCAR should issue the competition yellow, the first of 2 that we will have today as we come around to complete lap 20 now. Most of the field have gotten single file.
This will be the first competition caution.
Well, we've already had some contact. For example, Ricky Stenhouse and Austin Dillon.
Oh, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. I don't know if he meant to go up there to try out that top groove. Now he and Austin Dillon side by side. You can see Austin wanted that center lane, and Ricky, you held him pretty tight there. It's already a portion of the track where the back end wants to come around. Boy, that could have been a lot worse.
That's just casual contact for
a
Bristol.
Little kiss. Yeah. Bristol kiss.
And you know, Mike and Jeff, it is not a rule. You have to pit on a competition caution. Now, remember, we had 6 caution laps right there. We're not going to go back racing probably lap 26 or 27. I would not be surprised to see somebody just stay out right here or maybe do just right side tires.
Good point, Larry. We're going to run to the second competition caution at lap 60.
And there we go. Denny Hamlin, the first one to peel off. Denny, what, 6th position? I would think that the tire wear would be extremely high in these opening laps of this track, being so green.
He and teammate Eric Jones lead him onto pit road. There's Matt Kenseth, Austin Dillon, and more. Kurt Busch getting 4 tires. Remember, under caution, everyone enters the pits at turn 2, comes all the way around track, and exits at turn 1. We're under caution for the first of 2 competition yellows in Bristol. Bristol, Virginia, and Tennessee. One downtown, they share it. Right down the yellow stripe of Main Street is the state line. Beautiful restored train station. Train doesn't stop here anymore. But stock cars do, and drag race machines. And they light up Thunder Valley. You saw that card stunt with a packed house, 160,000 fans, and folks, we wish you could be at Bristol today. Hopefully soon. Fans back to the track. We're just happy to be racing. Here's today's Ford Performance Track Facts. 37 different victories for Ford with 18 different drivers. Fireball Roberts won the spring race here in 1963. Kurt Busch won the summer race here in 2018. Most wins in a Ford, Rusty Wallace and Kurt Busch, 5 each. The top 15 or 16 stayed out. Well, they weren't the top 15 or 16 then. They are now. 16 drivers stayed out, back to Timmy Hill. A penalty for Corey LaJoie, who Thursday night, we talked about his top 20 finish at Charlotte. He had a 12th place finish in the 600 a year ago, I was reminded. And Corey was too fast entering pit road. All 40 cars are on the lead lap. as they form up to restart.
Yeah, Mike, I was just going to say, Denny Hamlin came in 6th position, took left side tires. That left front especially, but the left side's wear extremely, the wear is extremely high. You see, because that traction compound. So that team took left sides. Everybody else took 4 tires. Denny Hamlin's going to be starting in the 18th position.
Chris Buescher had to change a scoring transponder. And we'll put pointers in on Brad Keselowski and Martin Truex. Ford and Toyota on the front row. Truex and Bobby Labonte share the distinctions of being the only Cup champions in the modern era without a Bristol victory. So far, pace car is in. We're back under green.
Eric Almirola going by. You see Truex stuck in the bottom lane. Here comes Kyle Busch. Before that caution came out, Truex was working on our leader, Brad Keselowski. Now all the way back to 4th.
About an 8-mile-per-hour difference outside to inside on the restart. Kevin Harvick around the outside of Joey Logano in orange, and here comes Stenhouse.
That bottom groove is going to continue to come in. Look at Joey Logano using it and using the front bumper to the rear of Kevin Harvick. That bottom groove is there. Once some heat gets in the tires, I think you're going to start to see cars roll around that bottom. It just doesn't seem to take off good down there, Mike.
Logano staying with the bottom, and he's going to pop up in front of Kevin Harvick now. Chase Elliott and Stenhouse battle. This will be for 8th place. Matt?
Mike, Joey Logano took off on the loose side, but he told his team, Paul Rope, the crew chief, right before the caution, that the bottom groove, the traction compound was coming in. His car was a little on the free side, but coming to him as well.
You know, Mike and Jeff, these crew chiefs will have to be careful over adjusting these race cars because I think they all will be loose until some rubber gets down on this track.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Larry. Rubber is laying down in that inside groove. Look how much faster Joey Logano is. He has motored by 3 or 4 cars already using and hugging that very bottom lane.
Top 4 single file. Here's the 5th place battle. Ryan Blaney.
Yeah, just same thing as his teammate Joey Logano. Just goes down there, hooks that bottom, and rolls right on by Martin Truex Jr. I think Martin Truex Jr.'s car is very good above the rubber that's laid down in that bottom lane in that traction compound, but he just isn't able to put his left sides down there and hook around the bottom. And here comes Stenhouse. 6th place, sorry.
Kevin Harvick trying to get past Truex for 7th.
Yeah, and Harvick's another one of those guys where the 22 of Logano went by him on the inside, took him a couple laps. Now he's buried to the bottom. Look at every car out there, single file right around the bottom. And again, this is another one of those things that's going to change. As rubber lays down on the bottom, eventually the line is going to move up.
Single file back to Matt Kenseth, who makes a pass, moves up to 15. Keselowski, Almirola, Logano, 3 Fords out front. Kyle Busch, the first Toyota, in 4th. Ricky Stenhouse, the first Chevrolet, in 6th. World's fastest conveyor belt.
It sure is.
Going fast here is one thing. Passing here, as you've already seen, is quite another. 4 Hendrick cars running right in a row, 9th through 12th. Elliott, Johnson, Bowman, Byron. And lapping has already begun, Jeff, on any short track.
It just goes by so fast, these laps, Mike. And when your car is off, if you've not had practice, it's really easy to go down a lap very early.
Whoa. Ricky got well into the back of Ryan Blaney there.
It caused some damage to the left rear of the 12 of Blaney. Listen, Stenhouse doesn't change his way of going about it. No matter what track he's at, he's going to be aggressive. If the car is fast and it sticks, Watch him be spectacular.
Well, we used to call Jimmy Spencer Mr. Excitement. It started back in his modified days. We may have to hand this to Ricky Stenhouse.
I definitely am pretty fearless no matter what. So, you know, with a great race car, you're able to, you feel confident and more comfortable to put it in different positions. You know, sometimes you make mistakes, but, you know, all in all, I've felt really comfortable. Come to Bristol, my best racetrack, my favorite racetrack. If our cars are, you know, driving as good as they have been, I feel like we're going to have a shot at the win.
Well, Stenhouse is on the march. Here's what happened a couple laps ago as Ryan Blaney checked up for a lap car.
Yeah, Blaney looked like he got in there a little bit hotter than he wanted to, got up the racetrack and was trying to hold it on the bottom, had to slow down a little bit more than he probably wanted to, and Stenhouse, he was just going to try to take advantage of that opportunity.
Clint Boyer trying to get past John Hunter Nemechek, the rookie.
Now see, this is reminding me of the old days of Bristol. If you tried to close the door on somebody, they're going to show you, if your bumper is 1 inch to the inside of their bumper, they're going to show you that you cannot cut down in front of somebody, but you have to be in that bottom lane. You saw John Hunter Nemechek already getting stuck behind a lap car, losing positions in that middle lane, so he desperately wants to get down to the bottom.
Matt Dibenedetto inside of Nemechek, who led a lot of laps late here last year and had victory almost within sight, finished second after a great run, knows what he's capable of here, and he's not able to complete this pass on Nemechek just yet. A lot of drivers have resorted, especially in traffic, to using the lapped cars, particularly Joey Gase, as a pick and keep that car in the high groove behind the lap car, take the low groove, and motor on by.
You know, guys, I would think we went back racing at lap 29, so we now are into about a 23-lap run. As you pointed out, Jeff, I think the track is starting to take some rubber, so I think now you are getting a little feedback on what that car is actually doing.
And Larry, what I'm going to be very curious as we watch, and we're on board here with Kurt Busch, he ran through the middle groove right there. How quick does this bottom lane start to build rubber and actually start to go away and be challenging? And that top groove that we've seen be so popular here the last couple of years, is that ever going to come in? When that top groove comes in, these guys aren't even going to think about that bottom lane.
Five laps to the competition caution. You know what gets real work out here? That throttle return spring.
It sure does. I mean, it really, there's just a rhythm. It's almost like a dance, you know, where you go into the corner and you wait for that car to take a set as we see a battle for 8th place. Chase Elliott going by Kevin Harvick. You get into the throttle, you just lightly get in the brakes, let that car settle in that banking and hook. As soon as it hooks, you're back to the throttle.
Kevin Harvick trying to extend that string of top 10s that goes back into last year.
You can hear that slight hesitation, Mike. You know, that footwork, you talked about those throttle springs. You heard Kevin Harvick. He wants to go to the throttle earlier, but he's just not able to do it. Now here comes Jimmy Johnson with a run. Clearly the 4 car of Kevin Harvick not turning through the center of the corner the way he wants it to, or when he went back to the throttle, he could go wide open.
Matt?
Harvick just cannot put the throttle down on exit. And Rodney Childers will tell you the ability to adapt to the line others are not using is even more significant here at Bristol with Kevin Harvick. And you saw him going up to the grind, just testing to see what the grip is there. Keep an eye on Harvick when we get pit road because he had an issue with his lights on section 4 when they were checking their lights. That could be a concern.
And the competition caution flies now that we've completed 60 laps. Be another opportunity, Larry. What are you going to learn in these last 40 laps that maybe you didn't get a good read on in the first 20?
Well, to my point to Jeff, Mike, I think now this track is taking some rubber. You had to be really careful making adjustments on that first run to that first competition caution. But I think now You've got enough feedback. I think we'll see everybody pit here and get 4 fresh tires, because this puts us about halfway through stage 1.
And Hamlin and some of those guys that came in and took tires on the last competition caution only able to move up to 12th spot. So, you know, all those others are looking at that.
All right, 8 cars now a lap down. Timmy Hill gets the free pass. We're going to listen in on Brad Keselowski, crew chief Jeremy Bullins, and spotter Coleman Presley.
In front of you, Harvick will be in front of that opening. Open this time, green light.
Pits are open.
So important not to make any mistakes here on pit road. It's just so costly, this track, this pit road, Matt.
And Keselowski is in. His car was on the free side, but they didn't want to make any adjustments. He wanted to see what his car would do in the traction compound with sticker tires. Meanwhile, over on the front stretch, Kyle Busch, his car was loose. Difficult time, searched around trying to find grip, 4-wheel slide, air pressure adjustment, close call getting out.
Very close call. As the tire changer came around the back of that car in front of Kyle Busch. Tight pit road here. It's not that wide, and the pit boxes aren't that deep, that long.
Yeah, and that was Clint Boyer came in a little bit later, had the tail stuck out. He's still in his box, but made it very difficult for the 18 to get around him. See a slight adjustment in the rear window on the 9-car Chase Elliott.
And here comes Keselowski leading them off pit road. Almirola, Blaney up 2 spots, and Chase Elliott up 2, Harvick up 2 in our Ram race off pit road. So the 2 competition cautions are in the books. We'll be back to run to the conclusion of stage 1 at lap 125. Close call on pit road. Clint Boyer's car, bottom of your screen. Whoa! Chris Jackson, the right rear tire changer for Boyer, really has to jump to avoid Kyle Busch coming out. Kyle Busch nabbed for speeding, exiting the pits. Daniel Suarez too fast entering the pits. They will restart at the back. 33 lead lap cars. Matt Dibenedetto, who did not pit, is your race leader.
Yeah, more than 20 green flag laps on the tires of Matt Dibenedetto. Here's the 2-car Brad Keselowski with those fresh 4 tires working the bottom.
Keselowski back to the lead, all double wide behind him.
Only because they don't have a choice, Mike. I think they'd all love to be in that very bottom lane on these restarts. So, you see Truex goes up the racetrack, almost clips his teammate Hamlin.
He has not had an easy day of it so far.
Boy, it looked so good in the opening lap. So when he was about to take the lead from Brad Keselowski, nothing's gone his way since for Truex.
Fourth place now, Almirola, Dibenedetto. Matt D hanging tough on the outside after leading 93 laps here last summer.
And I just wonder if Matt Dibenedetto might have been a little bit better off taking that inside line because he had the hot tires from staying out. Maybe that inside lane would have been better for him. You can see that groove moving up. You can see how the track, this is a concrete track, so you can really see when the rubber gets laid down. There goes Matt D down to the very bottom as we ride on board with Kevin Harvick. You can start to see the rubber laying down more and more, getting higher and higher. Look at Kevin Harvick as he's gravitating up the racetrack, laying some of that rubber down.
Now Logano to the inside of Harvick.
Boy, Harvick thought about going 3 wide to the outside of the 21 of Dibenedetto. Thought twice of it, though. Here goes Jimmy Johnson.
And behind him, Denny Hamlin, who took just left side tires on the previous caution and got 4 tires this time.
How about this battle for the lead? Ryan Blaney closing up to the number 2 of Keselowski.
Team Penske running 1st, 2nd, and 5th. And if you add Dibenedetto in there, 6th. due to the Wood Brothers affiliation.
I'm curious to stay on board here. Sorry, Mike, with Kevin Harvick. He ran the bottom through 1 and 2 pretty quick through there. He's been running a higher line in 3 and 4. I thought maybe he might alternate from one corner to the other, but he chose to stay on the bottom of both ends.
You know, Mike and Jeff, I'm not a bit surprised to see Ryan Blaney in that 12 running well here. He has a win in the trucks, a win in the Xfinity Series, top 10 finishes 4 of the last 5 Cup races, and he has led 100 or more laps in 3 of the last 4 races. He just hadn't been able to close the deal here.
Well, the guy that did close the deal last week, or sorry, on Thursday at Charlotte was Chase Elliott, his buddy. So he's starting to come up into the top 3 there with Ryan Blaney. Look at this battle here with William Byron to the inside of Cole Custer.
Took those 2 rookies 3 wide. Behind them, Chris Buescher is moving up. Buescher had a long pit stop, having to replace a scoring transponder.
I think Reddick, you know, he's one of those guys that I don't think he really loves the bottom here at Bristol. What he loves about this racetrack is when that groove moves up top and he can run that fence.
The lead tightening up here as Blaney sees Chase Elliott closing in his mirror. Matt?
Mike, 2 concerns for the 11 of Denny Hamlin. Number 1, the car is swung big time to the tight side. They can easily fix that on the stop, but his biggest concern, the temperatures are really rising. They're looking to see what debris he may have on the grill.
Hamlin in 9th.
I mean,
battle for the lead here.
Yeah, nothing visible on the nose and the grill of that 11 car, but we see a lead change where Blaney just got to the quarter panel, the 2 of Brad Keselowski. Brad fought him for about a half a lap. Finally, Blaney prevailed. Now here comes Chase Elliott into the same picture. Even when Brad's had the lead and has been able to pull away, you can see that back of that car is pretty unstable. That car is turning through the center good, but very unstable and loose, getting into the corner and the exit.
Keselowski led 78 of our 86 laps. 4 for Dibenedetto. Blaney, Elliott, 1 each.
Very similar to Blaney in how he set up the pass. Chase Elliott was able to just get the 2 car, Brad Keselowski, get a little bit loose off of the turn 4 exit and get a run to get to his inside and position his car where Keselowski really had no other choice but to let him go.
Elliott is bad fast. He has the race's fastest lap after 87 circuits. As Blaney tries to drive away. 37 to go in our first of 3 stages in Thunder Valley. NASCAR is back. Short track racing in Bristol. 97 laps complete in Bristol. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, recognizing those who are starting to help us all move forward again. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. Ryan Blaney's been out front for the last 15 laps. Chase Elliott trying to chase him down. Brad Keselowski 3rd, Eric Almirola, Joey Logano the top 5. Still 31 cars on the lead lap. But boy, some of those lap cars are beginning to be pesky to the leaders. 9th place Ricky Stenhouse, Denny Hamlin, Alex Bowman, Clint Boyer in this group. Matt?
Mike, everyone's multitasking in their job roles. So is Alex Bowman. He had an issue with his mirror vibrating under speed on the racetrack. So on that stop, his team handed a piece of tape through the window for him to tape up the mirror a little bit more to have better visual.
Yeah, you don't want to give up any track position. They can't get in there to try to fix that mirror, tighten it up under a caution to lose so much track position, but I'm not so sure a piece of tape is going to help much with Alex Bowman on that mirror. Here's a battle for that lead. Here comes Chase Elliott to the inside.
Best friends off the track, battling on the track. Blaney gives him plenty of room and gets the drive off the corner.
Yeah, nothing new. We saw these guys battle last week in Charlotte. Now Blaney sees that top groove. Chase Elliott got a big run on the top groove to get this inside move, or at least get side by side. Now the top groove coming in. Chase Elliott's going to get up in front of Blaney, and now the crossover.
Now Elliott secures the lead. These two organizations, Hendrick and Penske, won everything at both Charlotte races except the pole for Sunday. They won all the stages and both races, dominating today so far.
Let's watch this pass for the lead. You see that Blaney goes to the very bottom. Chase Elliott goes in a little easier, but he gets it turned sooner. Gets a big run, uses that bottom lane. And to me, it's just, if you try to stay on the very bottom, it's very hard to complete that pass and to get the speed off the corner. And that's what Chase Elliott did. He was very patient in the entry of the corner. You see here, Blaney goes to that high line. He saw where the 9 of Chase Elliott was experimenting up there. He thought, maybe I can find something right there. He goes a little bit too high, allows the 9 to slide up in front of him, but he wasn't going to give up yet. Now Chase Elliott goes back up to the top.
Chase Elliott has led every race except the first of the 2 races back at Darlington. So he's led the last 3 races. And Eric Almirola maybe getting a little impatient with Brad Keselowski.
I think the track is changing a lot. The balance is changing a lot right here, Mike, because we're seeing guys have a harder time keeping their cars glued to the bottom. Brad Keselowski is one of those. Almirola's cars rolling really nice through the center. And now you're starting to see some cars try to work that top groove in. Boy, you got to be really careful. You can jump over that. It's ice slick up there if you go too high.
Meanwhile, the leader is in heavy side-by-side lap traffic. That's Daniel Suarez just ahead, BJ McLeod on the outside. Suarez trying to keep from going a 3rd lap down. McLeod now going 4 laps down.
You know, Mike and Jeff, this is where I think crew chiefs can take a lot of stock in what their drivers are telling them. This is going to be about close to a 60-lap run as we close in on about 12 laps to go in this stage. The track is taking rubber, but Jeff, I know you've been looking for it. We're seeing Denny Hamlin, we're seeing Austin Dillon, Kevin Harvick in 4. A lot of them are starting to work that 3rd groove as we close on into the stage.
Yeah, and I'm really curious, Larry, the feedback that these drivers are going to give to their crew chiefs for adjustments, because the car drives completely different in that 3rd lane than it does on the very bottom.
Hey, the Busch brothers are side by side, and they will be again tomorrow. The Xfinity race on FS1 tomorrow night. Kurt Busch and Kyle Busch will be in the booth with Adam Alexander. And Kyle Busch is on a tear. He had that speeding penalty and restarted 34th. He's gained 16 spots since the restart. He's into the top 20. They're both in the top 20, 18th and 19th.
Are you surprised?
No, not at all. Boy,
He's just keeping it entertaining for us. Thank you, Kyle.
As is this fight for 3rd. Now the 27, Greg Galding on the inside, will give these two a little break from this battle. 8 to go in stage 1.
You can see right there, Brad Keselowski working that high line, just how much more momentum you carry from that top groove down the straightaway than you do when you run right around the bottom. You can shortcut the bottom and squirt through the center of the corner, but then once you get to the exit, I think you really run out of room being able to keep that throttle down wide open. Well, we're just seeing cars all over this racetrack, rubber being laid down almost all the way to the wall.
Chase Elliott trying to get around Corey LaJoie. And Ricky Stenhouse working Jimmy Johnson. This is for 8th place.
Well, you got to give some credit to Matt Dibenedetto right here in front of this battle. Stenhouse is able to get to the in front of Jimmy Johnson just for a split moment, but Dibenedetto stayed out, remember, during that competition caution, and has been able to stay in the top 10.
Yeah, I think this will be a huge game, but I think it was Greg Irwin, his crew chief's plan. Pit on that first caution at lap 20, absolutely stay out. It takes a good race car, but this has definitely paid some dividends for Matt Dibenedetto.
Dibenedetto now has 100 laps on this set of tires with 3 to go in stage 1.
Yeah, that's going to be a huge gain for Greg Irwin because Dibenedetto was 25th when they made that call to stay out.
Stenhouse working Dibenedetto for 7th right now. Hamlin would get the final stage point. He is the 10th place car looking for more. As Chase Elliott comes around, Ryan Newman just ahead is the last car on the lead lap, and that's how we will complete the stage. For 8th, Hamlin, Stenhouse 9th, Johnson 10th as the stage ends. Got a minute to catch your breath. Chase Elliott, a winner in Charlotte Thursday night, stage 1 winner today. Friday Night SmackDown is all new every week on Fox. This week, the Women's Tag Team Championship is on the line. Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross defend their title against Sasha Banks and SmackDown Women's Champion Bayley. SmackDown Fridays at 8, 7 Central, only on Fox. Stage 1 ends. Pit road is open. Chase Elliott leads them down. Matt?
Brad Keselowski first to get his pit stall, telling his team that the car super tight through the center and on exit on the bottom, but it is the best car he's ever had up top. His teammate Ryan Blaney, the other end of pit road, his car too tight, center to exit, an air pressure change on the 12 car, left's going on, and he's away. Damage to the left rear corner, Mike.
Joey Logano getting 4 fresh Goodyears and fuel. And Chase Elliott coming in for his stop. He has pit stall number 1 by virtue of winning Thursday night in Charlotte. That's how pit stalls were chosen in order of the most recent race finish.
Looks like Chase might come off the pit road 2nd place.
Ryan Blaney picking up 4 positions on pit road.
Hamlin picks up 3.
Great work by Todd Gordon's crew.
We say we dial up our stage 1 winner. Hey, Chase Elliott, Jeff and Mike in the Fox Sports booth. You got us?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, buddy, congratulations, man. You're starting this one off the way you left Charlotte there on Thursday. Stage win here, and Carlos looking good. Tell us about how you and Alan Gustafson plan to stay on top of these constantly changing conditions here.
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about. You know, I think our car was in a decent place right there, but obviously now's not what pays the most, so we just need to stay on it here. It's going to change a lot, and I think the top's going to come in here pretty soon, so we'll try to stay after it.
All right, looking good. Good luck the rest of the way. Thanks for talking to us.
Appreciate y'all.
9th stage win of the season for Hendrick Motorsports. That's 1 more than they had in all of 2019. Chase Elliott, stage 1 winner. Matt Dibenedetto too fast entering pit road, so he'll restart at the back, as will Alex Bowman, who came in for a 2nd stop to tighten lug nuts, or retighten lug nuts. Chase Elliott lost the lead to Ryan Blaney during the pit stop. Look under crew and you'll see the difference.
Now, Mike, I got to say, that's a great stop by Ryan Blaney and that Penske crew. But if there's any track I want to take a little extra time to make sure those lug nuts are tight, it's at Bristol. We see a lot of loose wheels, probably more than any other track right here at this track.
Riding here with Austin Dillon. 9 speeding penalties so far. We're going to listen in on Brad Keselowski and spotter Coleman Presley. Car number 2 on the restart. They will restart 4th. Here we go.
Still there. He's being pushed inside of you. Still there, Chase. He's released. Still there. Still there. 10's half off you. The 10 did get clear in your mirror. Still there, George. Still there. Bumper on the line. Bumper on the line. Bumper on the line. Back quarter. Still there, bumper, clear, 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 clear. 3/4 ahead. Side by side behind, 1 ahead, both lanes. Chase is clear behind you, 2 back. Everyone off bottom, 1.5 behind Chase, who is clear now, 2.
Joey Logano trying for 4th on Eric Almirola. Logano's had pretty good luck on the inside.
He has, but I think we're starting to see 2 groups really form here. But Logano moves ahead of Almirola for a split second. Let's see as they go down here into 1 and 2. Seems like 1 and 2. Yeah, I thought that Almirola might be able to prevail there, but Jimmy Johnson now comes into the mix. Almirola is going to have to get to the bottom.
And does, ahead of Jimmy Johnson, whose crew took a big swing at it on that pit stop. He came in 10th, restarted 6th. That's where he's running.
Well, and you know, this is a team that really needs a good, strong run to get some confidence building. I mean, not that a 7-time champion needs his confidence built up, but as a group, as a team, they've had a couple rough races, and they got to get on a roll. This is Jimmy's final season, and we all know what this guy's accomplished in this sport. Boy, wouldn't it be great to see him turn things around and get back to Jimmy Johnson fashion here this season.
Remember, due to the way the starting grid is determined, Johnson began this race back in 24th alongside Clint Boyer. He needs to climb 1 spot in the standings to be able to draw with the top 12 for next Sunday's race.
Yeah, and if you remember, when we stopped racing for those 10 weeks, Jimmy Johnson was 5th in points. So coming back to racing, you know, we've documented some of the issues that they've been through, but it has really hurt them in the point standings.
From Austin Dillon, looking back at the rookie, John Hunter Nemechek, 14th and 15th.
I've had a great time watching this young rookie here in the 38 car, John Hunter Nemechek. You know, he's impressed me in the past in Xfinity and Truck Series, but you know, when you move to this level, Mike, you go, okay, you know, these are the best of the best. Show me what you can do now against this competition. Well, he's impressed me. That kid can drive, and this is a physical track. He's also very physically fit.
Agreed. Update on Alex Bowman on their pit stop. They cross-threaded one of the lug nuts. Had to come in and replace that. And Bowman started at the tail end of the lead lap, 30th, and has only gained 1 spot in the heavy traffic here.
And again, I go back to why it's so important to have those lug nuts secured and tight up against that wheel, because all it takes is 1 loose lug nut here for that wheel to come loose. So much load in these high banks that it forces that wheel to come loose very easily. So smart move on their part to come back and make sure it's secure.
Ryan Blaney has led 100 laps or more in 3 of the last 4 races here. And I got to stand up for Ryan. We had a laugh at his expense after the race Thursday night when he tried to get his sponsors some exposure and take a drink from his drink tube with his mask on.
Yeah, I've seen some stuff on that of, you know, did you not realize your mask was on? Of course I realized the mask was on. I thought it was funny.
And so did we.
Yes, we did. You know, these guys are very serious. You know, they're competitors, but it's nice to see them after a race having some fun.
Well, he got a little love there for body armor. He was afraid he might get penalized if he dropped his mask to take a drink. So that's what you saw. And
hey, look what I just saw. I just saw John Hunter Nemechek go by Kyle Busch, all-time winner here at Bristol. Wow.
Mark that down for the highlight reel. That pass was for 13th place.
And after Kyle Busch had that speeding penalty, came up through there, I thought we'd see him continue to just march right to the front. Right now, that car is not to his liking. Again, they're all around the bottom. So as this track on this run starts to move up the racetrack, will that complement a car and driving style of Kyle Busch? See there, that left rear damage caused earlier in this race. What was that? Was that Ricky Stenhouse? I'm trying to think.
Well, he got into him a little bit. I'm not sure that's all of that damage.
Well, I was just going to say, it doesn't seem to be hurting the performance of that race car.
Well, you have a little bitty rear spoiler. Looks like to me on the left side, it's jacked up just a little bit, which actually helps the drive of that car. It's rare when you get damage, it helps a car. I think this could be one of those cases.
I like the way you're thinking, crew chief.
Get that spoiler up in the air. Well, Ryan Blaney is your leader from his Penske teammate Brad Keselowski with Chase Elliott third. There's where some of that damage came from. And just like that, we're at 1/3 distance in Bristol. We'll update you on the Coca-Cola family of drivers. Joey Logano 4th, Denny Hamlin 6th, Austin Dillon and Bubba Wallace in the top 20. Ryan Newman still on the lead lap as well, and Daniel Suarez is down 2. This battle's heated up for 4th. Eric Almirola has been all over him, right up to his bumper, everything but against it.
Yeah, this has been an awesome battle to watch, because if Joey Logano just slips up off the bottom down in 1 and 2, the slightest bit, you see the 10 car of Almirola close in, but they run about the identical lane down here in 3 and 4. It's really when we get down to 1 and 2 as we see this lead heating up as Keselowski's really using that top lane. He talked about how good his car is up top. Oh, Blaney might jumped over the edge of that grip level there.
Trouble on Bailey Curry, who's tagged the wall. He's going to make it back to pit road without incident, and we stay green.
You know, Jeff, we anticipated this. This racetrack just keeps getting faster. I think 19 of our top 20 turned their fastest lap about 8 to 10 laps after that last restart.
How about William Byron? He has gained 10 positions since we restarted, from 24th to 14th.
Yeah, great run for this young man.
Byron's going to get another one here on Nemechek.
Yeah, that 24 car looks good. He looked like he could run about anywhere on the racetrack. This battle not over with yet. Can see one. This is where those 2 distinct grooves are really starting to form. 12 car hook on the bottom, using that traction compound with his left sides. Keselowski just putting that right side up and to the edge. What happens, Mike, in this top groove, there's actually an area where it's ground down and smooth. And when the rubber lays down there, it actually has extra grip up top. The preferred line is that top groove. It manages the tires best, keeps the momentum up. But with that traction compound, forms 2 different lanes.
And we can see a dark black groove all the way around turn 3 and 4 and 1 and 2.
Almirola going to use the pick of some lap cars here. He might have to take him 3 wide. Here comes Denny Hamlin into this picture also.
Yeah, he Almirola almost had to shoot the gap between 1 high, 1 low with the lap cars. And look, here comes company. Hamlin, Harvick, and Johnson.
And lap cars make such a huge difference at this racetrack. When you're clicking off 15, 16-second laps and you come up on a car that's slower than you are, you've got to choose. You got to look ahead. You got to choose wisely how you're going to clear that car to not cost yourself any time.
Logano got a bit stuck there. That let Hamlin through. Now Harvick looking outside, trying outside.
Harvick likes this top lane. You can see that top lane creeping higher and higher and higher. As it does, it gets, the edge of jumping over it, getting in the wall is going to increase, but it's also going to increase the speed up there.
Xfinity race tomorrow here on FS1. Busch brothers in the booth.
A lot of wins between those 2 brothers, so they ought to be adding a lot of content to that broadcast tomorrow.
Oh, Logano trapped behind J.J. Yaley. Lost the spot to Harvick, and Johnson has a look.
And Stenhouse is now coming into the picture.
Now leader Brad Keselowski has moving chicanes all over the place.
Yeah, at this point in the race, when you got a long way to go, you got to be real patient, look in your mirror, see what your competitors are doing, what lanes they're choosing, and then you got to look ahead and use your spotter to help you get clear of these lap cars.
Matt?
Mike, you saw Keselowski power around the 12 on that outside. He didn't really want to make a big swing on that pit stop, concerned he might hurt that car. Remember, he said best car he's ever had up high.
Thanks, Matt. And Jeff, I'm not being hard on the lap cars. They are doing the best they can. What the leaders ask of them is pick a lane, hold your line, and do the best you can. But when the leaders get around here in just 15 seconds, wow.
Yeah, things just happen quick. And you see this great battle going on here for 7th, 8th, and 9th. Well, they're going to be 3 wide off of turn 2.
Brennan Poole up high. We're going to go 3 wide anyway.
That lap car didn't stop them at all. Jimmy
Nope.
Johnson takes advantage of that high lane going to the outside of Logano.
Well, at this point in the race, Jeff, we've got what you and every other driver always wanted at Bristol, a good 2-groove racetrack.
That's right, Mike. You want options. You want to be able to make, if your car's a little bit tight, you want to be able to move it around to a different section of the racetrack. If the car's loose, it allows you to do something different. That's what the dream for a driver, especially on a short track like Bristol.
Halfway through stage 2, things get really close on the world's fastest half mile. Ooh, too close. At Bristol, Tennessee, Ryan Blaney has crashed.
Wow, heavy damage to the front of that Penske Ford. Nose ripped off of it.
Running second to teammate Brad Keselowski at lap 200, and Ty Dillon got into it on the tail end. High hopes for Blaney coming in here. He has run at the front all day. Here's what happened.
Battling with his teammate Brad Keselowski for the lead. Goes to that high line. Oh, he just jumps over the edge. That's what I talked about. You know, there's great speed and grip up there. And then unfortunately, I believe the 13, here comes Ty Dillon.
Oh.
Yeah, just had so much momentum coming off of turn 2. Tried to avoid him. So you see the car jumps out, gets loose. Basically jumped the cushion, as we call it. And it's so slick up top there. Blaney does a good job not hitting anything. Well, it really looked like the 13, Ty Dillon, thought he was going to slide to the bottom. He was going to go by him on the outside.
Riding with Kevin Harvick.
Front end, easy. Go low.
So these drivers, a lot of them saw that car. I mean, it's not a hard car to miss, as bright as it is. And I think as you saw that car start to slide down the bottom, Ty Dillon committed to the top groove. Don't know if his spotter gave him some information there or not, but at the last second, he realized he could not clear him on the outside, and
brake duct toes there.
Contact.
You have a millisecond to make that choice first. Second, Jeff, as you go into turn 1 at Bristol, in the middle of 1 and 2, can you even see the exit of 2, the way the banking is and the way the windshield is low?
You can't. The banking is so high, you can't see around the corner. And so it's important for your spotter to give you that information right away, and you start to slow down as quickly as possible so you can gain control and be able to maneuver. And right there, it just looked like he couldn't get slowed down fast enough. He certainly didn't see it.
And look at that area in shadow as well, when most of the track is in bright sunlight. That adds to the difficulty. Usually these bankings are self-cleaning, but it's just the way that Ryan Blaney spun. If you let off the brake, the car will slide back to the wall out of harm's way, except.
Yeah, almost always you lock the brakes down and that car slides all the way down to the inside wall. Usually makes contact with the inside wall.
Appears to me what's going to put Ryan Blaney out, it looked like to me the radiator or the heat exchanger was busted in the nose of that car. You can get by without a nose here at Bristol as far as making laps, but radiator and the heat exchanger looks like it's busted.
So you see the shadows up high.
Yeah, I mean, you see Ty Dillon, he sees it, he gets on the brakes, but I think he just really felt like that 12 car was going to move down low. And once Blaney stayed up high, he just couldn't get the car to the left fast enough.
What could have been a fairly harmless spin with very little damage turns into a drive to the infield and out of the race for Ryan Blaney.
And Mike, what this will turn into is everybody to pit road for 4 fresh tires. We're still going to have probably roughly a little over 40 laps to go at this stage when we go back racing.
Somebody's made contact with the right rear of Denny Hamlin just in front of the wheel. And there's the damage to Ty Dillon's car from this one, Matt.
And the Fords of Brad Keselowski and Kevin Harvick pitting just off turn 2. Keselowski, remember, they made that chassis adjustment the last stop. It did help the race car. Meanwhile, Harvick was calling for a much more significant adjustment. You can see it right there in the right rear, trying to keep up with the racetrack. Solid stop so far. Meanwhile, the teammate to Harvick, the 10 of Almirola, his car's been pretty much on the free side the last 2 times he's hit pit road.
So Ricky Stenhouse getting service. Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano into his box, and William Byron, Matt Kenseth, and finally Chase Elliott down in pit stall number 1.
This is that section through the corner you saw on your right of the screen, the 18 to Kyle Busch. That's where he got caught for speeding earlier in this race.
Elliott edges out, and he's going to win the race off pit road from Brad Keselowski. Chase Elliott picking up 2 spots. Let's take you back to 2018 and Ryan Blaney at Bristol in the spring.
Yep, Blaney has a love-hate relationship with this racetrack here in Bristol, leading the race, led 100 laps prior to that crash. Frustrating day. And then moments ago, trying to take the lead back away from his teammate Brad Keselowski, gets up high, too high, gets loose, locks down the brakes, avoids contact until Ty Dillon comes along and makes contact. It's going to send Ryan Blaney out of this event.
And you saw Dillon, he was looking to go to the outside. That hole closed, couldn't get to the inside soon enough to avoid the front end of Blaney's car. Wow, that's a tough one.
Whew, yeah.
45 to go in stage 2. It'll be 1 to go at the line. Brad Keselowski will start next to Chase Elliott, our race leader, on the front row. Hamlin and Harvick, row 2. Almirola, Logano, Stenhouse, Byron, Kyle Busch, Jimmy Johnson, the top 10. Eric Jones, 11th. Had a good race so far. His teammate Martin Truex will share the 6th row. Ty Dillon has climbed from his car after front end damage with Ryan Blaney.
Yeah, that kind of contact with the right front causes a lot of times pretty severe suspension damage. So if I had to guess, that's probably something that led to Ty Dillon being out of his car. How about our buddy Clint Boyer riding along here in 16th, having a pretty solid day.
He and Nemechek will share the 8th row.
Long way to go.
Around turn 4, pace cars in, and they'll head for the Geico restart zone. Chase Elliott, big jump. Harvick comes with him. Not as in he jumped the restart. He got a good jump on Brad Keselowski.
He did what he was supposed to do.
Exactly.
I got you, Mike.
All right.
Oh, Brad Keselowski trying to run that bottom groove. Car steps out on him a little bit. How about William Byron? Look at William Byron up here into the top 5 going around Denny Hamlin. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. We were talking about William Byron all the way back in like 25th spot.
They had a little contact last lap by those two. And now ahead of those two, Elliott, Harvick, Keselowski, Logano.
You know, again, we're going to watch this 2-car. Brad Keselowski is very happy with his race car, but he's happy in that top groove. And you saw right there, Kevin Harvick tried to run that top groove. It's just not there yet. It takes some time for the tires to heat up, for that area of the racetrack to heat up, and for that groove to come in. So you got to run around the bottom for a little.
Spinner.
Oh.
Back straightaway, single car. And it puts us under caution, Joey Gase.
Yeah, I was just, saying that until these tire pressures build up and the heat in the tires, expand, it just is very difficult to figure out how to get your car to be good on the shorter runs. We know on the long runs that you want to be up in that third lane, but on these shorter runs, it's hard to really pick which way or in which area of the track you want to run.
You know, we talked about contact between William Byron in the 24 and the 11. Denny Hamlin, right side of your screen.
Yeah, there's Denny on the very bottom coming off turn 4. And William Byron got a good run. Probably had a little more room to his right side. And I think Denny Hamlin just didn't expect him to be there. Came up, made contact.
Caution is out for Joey Gase's spin. Welcome back to the Supermarket Heroes 500 presented by Food City. And we add our thanks to Food City and their employees for all that they are doing as we get ready to go back to green at lap 216. Chase Elliott outside of Brad Keselowski. Caution back straightaway. Bailey Curry has stalled. Let's go behind the wall and Matt Yoakum.
Like Ryan Blaney has stepped from the care center. And Ryan, you tell me it's all about searching for grip here, all 500 laps. Did you step up into the grind for the first time, or did you step out from underneath you?
I was running up there for a little bit. I didn't think I was that high, and all of a sudden I kind of hit a slick spot. Then I got to where I was way high, and that's obviously not where I wanted to be. But I didn't think I was that high getting in there, and it might have just been a tiny bit too much, and got in the marbles and spun out, and I thought we were going to be okay, and then we got destroyed about 6 seconds later. So that's just Bristol, product of Bristol. I don't know. I probably shouldn't have been pushing that hard, but trying to get back to the lead, and I thought we found some speed up there. Just mistake on my part. I hated for Menards and Richmond and everybody on this 12 team. After having 2 strong weeks, you go and you wreck, not even halfway. So that's just a bummer, but we'll go to Atlanta, see what we can do.
Bummer indeed. Mike?
Tough break for Ryan Blaney, what seemed to be a simple spin. I guess there are, Jeff, no simple spins at Bristol. They all have consequences.
Well, when cars are traveling, 15, 16 seconds per lap, when you do spin, it's almost inevitable that there's going to be contact from somebody. See the conversation between Ty Dillon and Ryan Blaney.
Now, the Saturday race from Bristol has been put off until tomorrow, 7 p.m. for the Xfinity race. Kyle Busch, Kurt Busch in the booth with Adam Alexander here on FS1. Next Saturday, the Xfinity race is at Atlanta, 4:30 Eastern Time on Fox. And next Sunday, the Cup Series runs the Folds of Honor Quick Trip 500 on Fox next Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Kyle Busch. It is wife Samantha's birthday tomorrow, but he's going to honor his commitment to Fox Sports. I'll be in the booth with Kurt, and we'll be happy to have him. He is currently in 11th place. Kyle Busch. Let me give you in numerical order, not in order of occurrence, the drivers who have been gigged by the speeding police today. Quinn Houff, J.J. Yaley, Kyle Busch, Matt Dibenedetto, Greg Galding, Corey LaJoie, Bubba Wallace, Bailey Curry, B.J. McLeod, and Daniel Suarez. have all incurred at least one speeding penalty.
I believe this is the toughest pit road, maybe here in Martinsville, the toughest pit road to try to maintain speed. The teams have figured out a way to maximize these sections that you need to carry a certain RPM in. But at this track, when you run through turns 3 and 4, there's a section where they say, okay, you can speed up a couple hundred RPM to maximize this corner. You can run a shorter line around it also. And it just, to me, almost isn't worth it. It just seems to cause more problems than it does anything else, than what it can gain you.
Mike and Jeff, the last 10 races here at Bristol, a total of 95 pit road speeding penalties.
Pace cars in. The 5 drivers up front are the winners of the last 5 races as they approach the Geico restart zone. And we're back under green.
Ooh, got close there between Kevin Harvick and Joey Logano. Keselowski thought about going to the inside of the 4, but that door got shut quickly.
And Keselowski had to lift. There's a big fight on now for 4th place.
Nice
There's
run.
that Jones boy down to the inside
of
William Byron in the 20, the yellow car.
You know, we talk about the challenge that this track creates for drivers, and the drivers' talents. It's see a battle for the lead here. Joey Logano looking to get to the inside of Chase Elliott. He's there. Boy, we've seen at times Joey Logano's car just, oh, he gets loose. Almost takes out Chase Elliott.
They made contact. I think Logano really had to work there to stay off or get off him.
Yeah. Man, this battle up front has just been wild. See everybody settling in here except for this battle right here with Keselowski to the outside of Hamlin. Boy, that was so close between Joey Logano and our leader, Chase Elliott. Almost sent both of those cars around spinning.
Well, let's show you that from Kevin Harvick's view.
And remember, these cars have less downforce on the short tracks this year. I don't know if that had any effect here. They go side by side in the corner. And as Joey Logano goes to the inside, the car just steps out and gets really loose. Luckily, he caught the banking because I think that car would have come all the way around. Don't know how much left rear damage that may have caused to Chase Elliott's car.
Keselowski trying Hamlin for 4th.
Oh, Stenhouse, heavy damage. Big wreck. Tyler Reddick, Cole Custer.
Oh, Ricky Stenhouse.
Bowman.
He is having a hero or zero kind of week. And it sounds as if Stenhouse may have gotten turned here. But it's Stenhouse, Bowman, Custer, and Reddick.
Window net down on Alex Bowman.
Lap 230.
Rookie Cole Custer about to climb out of his car.
8th caution flag.
Well, that car, the 47 of Stenhouse, when it hit that inside wall, it was still carrying a lot of speed, just spun around like a top into the groove where these other cars like Reddick had nowhere to go.
We're glad Ricky's okay. Now, window net's still up on Tyler Reddick's car. Cole Custer walks away. And Stenhouse. So let's have a look at what happened here. Looks like 4 cars knocked out.
See Clint Boyer in the 14 on the bottom. 47 of Stenhouse. Here comes Jimmy Johnson. Comes off at turn 2. And he just makes contact with that left rear of the 47. I don't know if Stenhouse had to check up a little bit when he caught the 42 of Kenseth there, but just looked to me like maybe Jimmy misjudged getting in behind the 47 of Stenhouse.
I think Kurt Busch may also have some damage from that one.
Well, I'd like to see that one again.
Well, let's ride with Kurt Busch. I think he was just alongside or in front of it. Nope. back of it. Hard to tell there.
Ooh, oh, that's pretty heavy damage for Kurt Busch.
Yeah, Tyler Reddick got into the back of Kurt Busch.
You can see the 47 checks up a tiny bit right there before Jimmy Johnson makes contact with him. The 47 had a run on the 40. Watch Kenseth in the 42. Now see Kenseth get loose right there and almost hits the outside wall. He has to check up. Jimmy Johnson has no idea. He can't see the 42. And as the 47 of Stenhouse checks up, Jimmy Johnson runs into the left rear and spins him around. Ooh.
Cole Custer,
Boy.
Kurt Busch, Tyler Reddick, nowhere to go and little time to react. Looks like 4 cars are going to get knocked out of the race from this one. The race has been red flagged. Cars are stopped on the straightaway here on the front stretch as crews clean up. Here's watch John Hunter Nemechek.
Yeah, he and Chris Buescher. Watch this wreck folds. The 47 hits the inside wall, comes up the racetrack. They barely miss it. Here are the guys that make contact, get caught up in this.
Nemechek probably thought Stenhouse was headed right for him. And that's what he said.
I can relate to that. When you barely make it through one of those and you see it happen right in front of you.
So the cars with damage include Kurt Busch, Cole Custer, Tyler Reddick, Alex Bowman, Ricky Stenhouse have serious damage. There are others deemed to be involved, maybe because they spun to miss the wreck or had contact taking evasive action. Onto the rollback goes Stenhouse's car after having a great run Thursday night in Charlotte and a promising start to this race.
Saw a little damage there to Ryan Preece. He went for, I think maybe somebody made contact with him into the rear bumper and sent him sliding. He slid all the way through turns 3 and 4 underneath that wreck, sideways up into the banking, but there's the damage that he has. He avoided a lot worse damage.
Yes. So Stenhouse, who was trying to check up to stay off of Matt Kenseth, gets hit by Jimmy Johnson and starts a 4-car pileup. Just prior to that, Ryan Blaney had what looked like it was going to be a 1-car spin. The hole closed up on Ty Dillon, who took the nose off of Blaney's car.
This is Bristol. This is, you know, the things that we love and the things that we hate about Bristol. But you can see again, Matt Kenseth gets loose. His momentum gets slowed down. Jimmy Johnson is trying to either get to the quarter panel of the 47 of Stenhouse. They're in a tight battle, racing one another. And as Stenhouse has to slow down ever so slightly, there's just no room for air, and Jimmy Johnson was just right there at his rear bumper, spun him around. That collected all these cars. You saw the 37 come slide through there.
Yeah, big accordion effect, and then you have a broken accordion. Wow. Heavy damage. But as you say, that is Bristol. We went back and reviewed footage and found it was Bubba Wallace who got into the back of Ryan Preece to send him spinning. And Jeff, talk about checking up for an incident developing in front of you versus gassing it to get through.
So I'm just going to put a scenario that maybe I would have been if I'm John Hunter Nemechek. Yep. If I'm John Hunter Nemechek, I see the 47 of Stenhouse get spun around to that inside wall. When he does, I might gas it up and actually try to go by Stenhouse before he makes contact. But then as he hit the inside wall, made contact, and comes spinning off, now I've got a different set of circumstances, and I'm just going to freeze. and that's what John Hunter Nemechek did. He had nothing he could do at that point. He was committed, but luckily had enough speed to carry and go by that incident before it collected him.
And as huge as the brakes are inside of these 15-inch wheels, we see these cars going around the track at such speed, it's easy to forget how hard it is they're like freight trains. It's hard to stop one at speed in a short distance.
Well, I mean, think about, this is a half-mile racetrack. These cars are carrying 140, 150 miles per hour on this short track. So even though you have great brakes, it's still, you're carrying so much speed and momentum. It's still very hard to not only slow down, but then also maneuver left to right to try to avoid an incident if it does happen in front of you.
So in the aftermath of all this, Matt Yoakum has caught up with Alex Bowman.
Mike, Bristol seems more like Talladega today. And Alex, walk us through what took place from your vantage point.
It looked like the 47 crashed, and I couldn't get stopped on time. I was hoping they would stay low, and then as they all came up, I got on the brake pedal and just locked the fronts up and couldn't turn. So bummer. Hate it for our ChevyGoods.com, NOCO, Adams guys. First race for Adams polishes on the car. Bummed for them, but we had a really good car. Just had some weird stuff happen today. We cross-threaded a lug nut, had to come back down and change that out. And then the clutch pedal fell off inside the race car. So that wasn't good for pit stops by any means. So kind of struggled with that the last pit stop, lost some more track position, and then just wrong place, wrong time. So hate it. Hopefully, looks like the 9's running really well, so hopefully a HMS car can park it in victory lane. But one of those days, everything was going wrong and finished it off.
All right, thank you, Alex.
So Alex Bowman out of the race, joining Bailey Curry, Ty Dillon, Ryan Blaney, Ricky Stenhouse. And we'll see who else is able to continue that was involved. Well, the fellow who ruled this place, there's Darrell Waltrip and Junior Johnson. DW with 7 wins in a row here, 12 wins overall. And Junior Johnson, Hall of Famer, with a great record with Darrell and Cale. Here's DW's tweet. If the right side is roughed up, you're passing people. The left side's banged up, you're in the way.
Well said, DW.
Back to Matt.
Well said indeed. And out of the infield, Kirsten is Ricky Stenhouse Jr. So what happened, Ricky?
We just got crashed. Our Kroger Camaro was so good. That's 2 weeks in a row. I feel like I had one of the best cars that I've had, at that given racetrack. So we were just racing hard. The 42 had to check up. The 48 just ran into our left rear and spun us. But it was a bummer. I felt like we had a really good shot at racing them for the win. We were getting it dialed in there. Starting on the inside was a little tricky on restarts and trying to get yourself up. And we were starting to make some momentum back to the top 5 there and just got crashed. So he about got us last week. He got us this week, but it's just part of it. Short track racing. Hopefully, guys bring another good car to Atlanta next weekend, and we'll go get them.
Thanks, Mike.
Boy, he had great momentum coming into this race. Now he's got a very beat-up race car. A little damage to Jimmy Johnson from that contact. Tough break for Ricky.
Yeah, and I think he knew, after that great run last week or Thursday in Charlotte, he knew this was another great opportunity to back that up and keep the momentum going forward.
Well, let's take, not often you hear about a clutch pedal or something like that falling off, and we do talk a lot at Bristol about brakes. So here's Larry with a closer look with our Ford Performance car.
Well, Mike, hard to believe this is actually our first short track race of 2020, and even though it's a high bank short track, we do talk about brakes. You mentioned big brake packages. Look how big the rotor is right there. And you're going to turn it around there and you'll see just how big that brake caliper is and how big the brake pads are. Basically, what maxes out how big the brake package can be is what fits inside that wheel. So a lot of brakes, maybe you don't use a lot here, but they run big brakes. And then also the cooling. You've got these hoses here, and then they have blowers in the hoses. But what I have noticed, because you don't use a ton of brake here, I'm seeing a lot of the front ends that has tape over those brake ducts. So even though big brake packages, they're not focusing a lot on the cooling.
No, Larry, with the speeds they run here at Bristol, they focus on the aerodynamics. But when cars are wrecking in front of you, you need those big brakes. See some pit stop action happening here. Martin Truex Jr., Jimmy Johnson.
Matt Kenseth getting serviced. Austin Dillon coming down. 18 to go in stage 2 around the world's fastest half mile. Michael McDowell done. There's Ryan Preece with that little bit of damage to the right rear. Our aerial coverage today provided by Goodyear, recognizing those who are starting to help us all move forward again. Goodyear, official tire of NASCAR. Daniel Suarez got the free pass on this 8th caution flag of the day. And Kurt Busch looking at the left side on his car. Here's your Xfinity fastest lap of the day so far. Chase Elliott early in the going. Or excuse me, late in the going. Lap 227, just 6 laps ago. 123 average around here.
Yeah, it
How
seems
about
like
that?
as they get fresh tires, as the teams are able to make adjustments, rubbers lay down the racetrack, drivers getting more and more confidence, they're able to put those lap times down and get them even faster.
I guess another analogy for what's racing like at Bristol would be going to the circus and seeing the motorcycles race around that round cage.
I've never done that, but I've always been curious what that would be like, but I guess the closest thing would be running 500 laps at Bristol.
You know, Mike and Jeff, we have roughly 24 drivers on the lead lap. I felt like we may see a few pit right there, but what I would do is we're only going to have about 15 laps left in this stage. Absolutely, if you pitted there, you stay out at the end of this next stage.
Good point, Larry. Now 12 drivers, 13 drivers did not pit under this caution. Matt Dibenedetto getting his service. You saw Tyler Reddick walking through the tunnel out of Bristol Motor Speedway. So we'll add him to the list of cars knocked out in this lap 230 crash. We're going to listen to Tim Fedewa, spotter for Kevin Harvick, as we go back to green.
Clear. 24's trying to come though. Outside now. Clear, 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 clear. Right on you though. Back out there. You're still clear. All the way up. Whatever you need. 24, come with a run. 1 back. All clear. On the bottom with you. Right with you. Watch your bottom now. He's got to run inside. 18 will be pushing him. Inside. Clear. Back down there.
Denny Hamlin was able to get by Joey Logano. Now he's going after our leader, Chase Elliott.
Logano keeping him close.
I gotta say, I enjoy listening to Tim Fedewa. I race with Tim Fedewa. You know, almost all these spotters have some sort of racing background that helps them be a really good spotter. Caution is out.
Somebody got into the wall hard up between 3 and 4, Jeff. Someone toward the back of the pack. And we'll see who here in a minute. Caution flag out for the 9th time at lap 239.
See some right side damage here to Ryan Preece's number 37 Chevrolet. He already had some right side damage to the rear quarter panel and rear bumper area from avoiding that wreck and some contact from Bubba Wallace earlier.
And it's confirmed it was Preece who got up in the wall in 3 and 4 and has brought out this caution. 4 cars knocked out in the lap 230 crash. Stenhouse, Bowman, Reddick, and Cole Custer. You're riding with Kurt Busch.
See, Preece just goes in, the car just goes straight, almost as if it had a right front tire that was down or something broke.
He had a good bit of damage in the rear from that that last crash when he got tagged and turned around. Dibenedetto exiting the pits, and now Preece after a bit of damage repaired.
Saw Eric Almirola in the 10 car on pit road. It appears Michael Bugger-Ravitch decided to give up a lot of track position, and we're actually hearing that he feels like he's maybe got a tire going down. So I'm sure they'll change 4 here, and then they'll stay out at the end of stage 2.
Just 10 to go in the stage.
Sometimes you have an issue that forces your hand to come down pit road that might actually pay off for him a little bit later at the end of this stage. Larry, sometimes hard to make that call unless you have an issue. We'll see how that works out for Eric Almirola if he does stay out at the end of this stage.
Now, if Chase Elliott places in the top 10 today, you can get free fried pickles at Hooters on Monday. And since Chase won on Thursday, you get 10 free boneless wings when you order any 10. Available tomorrow at all Hooters that have safely reopened across the United States. When Chase wins, you win. Yeah, get some vegetables to go with that. Daniel Suarez is the free pass. So we'll get back to green to finish off stage 2. We were talking about Darrell Waltrip and saw Junior Johnson up there on the sign. What a record Junior had here. He won here as a driver. He won with Charlie Glotzback once, twice with Bobby Allison, 8 times with Darrell Waltrip, and 9 times with Cale Yarborough. 21 Bristol victories for the inaugural Class Hall of Famer Junior Johnson.
I was going to say that's how you get your big banner there in Bristol, and that's how you get in the NASCAR Hall of Fame. Impressive career for Junior Johnson.
Ready to go green. The top 2 finished 1-2 on Thursday. Chase Elliott with lane choice takes the outside. Green flag.
So Kevin Harvick taking advantage of that outside starting position. And never count out Kyle Busch. It's not been a Kyle Busch kind of day so far, but now here he is coming up into the top 3.
Well, it's a Kyle Busch racetrack. 8 Cup victories, 9 Xfinity victories, 5 Truck Series victories for Kyle.
See Denny Hamlin. Ooh, another big loose moment for Joey Logano. So he gets sideways off of turn 2 there.
Now the exit of turn 2 is in full shade, Jeff, and has been for some time. Rest of the track's in bright sunlight.
And yeah, you would think that would increase the grip level, might make the car turn a little bit stronger, but you would think you'd be able to get in the throttle a little bit harder, and that might be what's happening. Is some of these guys are just trying to get more aggressive as they get to the throttle, and might cause that car to step out.
Riding with Clint Boyer in 6th. Looking back at William Byron and Eric Jones. The pits are closed for the final 2 laps of stage 2. Chris Buescher's made a nice recovery. He's in the 10th spot to pick up the final stage point.
One of those drivers just barely squeezed by that incident with Stenhouse.
And Chase Elliott has swept the first 2 stages here. 5th stage win of 2020. That's as many as he had in all of last season. Chase Elliott, your stage 1 and stage 2 winner. Out of the shade and
How about
into
Denny
the light
Hamlin
there.
staying out.
Realistically, Denny Hamlin, if you didn't pit since lap 204, you only had 22 hard green flag laps on your tires. They've opted for track position.
Clint Boyer is out. Logano's in, Matt.
Logano and Harvick, who had been battling lack of grip, and that's exactly what Logano was fighting through the center of the corner. So the car was a little bit free in and out, but it really made some big headway from their previous stop. Now on the other side of the screen, the 9. He was snappy loose earlier, but the last run, he said the car was a little free to get going, but it was tightening up nicely. He feels like they'll be in great shape.
There's your Ram race off pit road. Chase Elliott. Joey Logano picks up a spot from Harvick. Brad Keselowski gets 2. Martin Truex 4. Well, we've already spoken to Chase Elliott, so who'd you like to dial up?
Yeah, I'd like to talk to Kevin Harvick. Hey, Kevin, this is Jeff and Mike, Fox Sports Studios. You got us?
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, we just wanted to talk to you because, you know, hey, you got a lot of great information that you give us all the time. So, you know, how do you and Rodney Childers just stay on top of the constant changing strategies, changing track conditions? We've not seen a long run yet today.
Yeah, you know, our Hunt Brothers Pizza Ford is, you know, it's a little too loose on the bottom on those restarts, but you got to have the thing turning good up top. There's going to be a long run. It's going to go to the top of the racetrack, and you're going to have, you know, the thing turning in the center of the corner, and all those cycles on the tires. You know, it's better to just bite the bullet and get some cooler tires back on there. So lots of changing. You don't know when all the cautions are going to come out, where the strategy is going to change, but we try to just do our own thing and see how it all falls in the end.
All right, well, it's been a wild Bristol so far, and that's just us watching. I can only imagine what it's like for you in there. So good luck the rest of the way. Thanks for talking to us.
Hi, Jeff. Thank you.
So we're getting ready for stage 3. Will this be one of the contenders to win this thing? Ready to restart this race in Bristol. On the restart, you'll be listening to Tony Hirschman, spotter for Kyle Busch. He and Denny Hamlin had a conversation about which lane to take. Busch to the top, Hamlin to the bottom.
Yeah, watch these teammates work together here on this restart.
And here they come off turn 4 to the Geico restart zone.
Ready. Go. 3's on you, inside 48, quarter. Inside 48, full. Still there, 48, quarter. 3's with him. Clear right now. Clear.
Oh, Jimmy Johnson loose off of turn 4. 3 wide going into 1. The 3 is there.
And gets him just a little bit there. And boy, Christopher Bell, what a job hanging on he did in that 95.
Now the 3 of Austin Dillon gets loose. Here comes Matt Kenseth to the inside. Remember, a lot of these cars pitted back on lap, 232, I believe it was?
Hamlin and Busch were in at lap 204. Everybody else up front, lap 232, except Almirola 8 laps later. First car on fresh tires is Chase Elliott in 10th. Chris Buescher has bounced off the wall from 20th place. Watch the 17.
Well, you just know 3 wide is not going to work at Bristol. Unfortunately, right there, the 17 of Buescher goes to the high side. Just like Ryan Blaney got up into that loose marble.
And William Byron got a piece of the wall. Here racing outside Martin Truex.
You could see the dust in the marbles building up outside where the rubber's laid down. Let's watch this 24 car. He goes 3 wide. Has to avoid the 34 McDowell. And when he does, it just goes up the racetrack. Makes contact. That's enough to really do some damage to that right side and possibly cut a tire.
Yeah, as these tires wear, they're like a pencil eraser. What comes off them has to go somewhere, and it clogs together and settles up toward the top of the racetrack. We call it up in the marbles. Ryan Newman, Chase Elliott. Now Chase has fresh tires. Newman's are 20 laps older, and we're under yellow. Chris Buescher tagged the wall again.
Well, yeah,
and then made his way to pit road.
Yeah, I mean, this is the problem. When you hit that wall, those flared fenders fold in, and it's so we see him cut the tires down all the time, and that's exactly what happened with Chris Buescher. He got into the wall, that fender gets pushed in, and just a few laps later, that tire is cut and goes down.
Buescher radioed in after the first hit. Feels like something's wrong in the steering. Now it is. So Buescher hits the wall, comes down to pit road.
Yeah, this is obviously after he knew either something was broke or a front tire was cut down.
And caution is out for the 11th time. Matt Dibenedetto will get the free pass. And that will put us 25 cars on the lead lap, 26 if Buescher makes it out in time.
Mike, we only ran 7 laps right there. I know the 11, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, the 18, they would love to see this thing go for a while without a caution, but I think everybody's bed's kind of made right now. I just don't see anybody coming to pit road.
Well, let's take a look at our recent short track history with Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch out front for Joe Gibbs Racing. Here's where they've been on the last 5 short tracks. Kyle Busch winning Bristol in April 2019. Martin Truex in Richmond. Denny Hamlin in Bristol, the summer race. Truex in Richmond in September. And added Martinsville to that list. So here are your Toyota top performers with 230 laps to go. Hamlin, Busch, Bell in the top 5. Eric Jones 17th, Truex 19th. He is pitted. And Daniel Suarez 22nd.
And a lot of credit to Joe Gibbs Racing. They have a great short track program. They've worked hard on their chassis, their setups. We know aerodynamics are important even on this racetrack, but you know, mechanical grip is what wins on short tracks. And those guys, no matter what has happened, you know, they might feel like they're a little bit behind on those intermediates, but boy, they're not behind on these tracks.
Now, Christopher Bell was 70-1 when the race started. He is driving for the team that Matt Dibenedetto led over 90 laps for and came close to winning this race last August. He was one of our ones to watch and currently well positioned in the top 5.
And one of the things I've seen him quickly starting to learn is how to get further into the race to get yourself in position to pull together a good result and build that momentum.
Matt?
And Mike, he can thank Stevie Reeves, his spotter, the former then Busch Grand National driver. Actually had the pole here at Bristol once. But Stevie has helped Christopher trying to mentally approach working longer into a race. Remember, he's typically used to running in the trucks or the Xfinity series, so mentally he's trying to approach it much longer. The car a little bit on the free side, and he told me earlier this week if he could write anything on the dash for Bristol, it'd be patience, patience, patience. And he's showing it today.
Now the spotters are all social distancing around the upper levels of the grandstand here at Bristol, which makes it a little hard to communicate one to the other, but they've got it figured out.
Well, at this racetrack, it might be good that they're distanced, not just for social distancing, but when things heat up on the racetrack, they heat up for those spotters too.
Big thanks to our Fox technical team. Quick rush from Charlotte to get those folks up to Bristol and ready as this broadcast comes to you from Bristol, from Charlotte, and from Los Angeles. Mike Davies, Kevin Callahan, Brady Cheney, Colby Bourgeois at the helm, and all of our cameramen who are at the track, as is Andy Jeffers, and our chief spotter up there, Kevin Clark, who made it to the Elizabethton Cruise last night, sent me pictures and video. I am jealous. I mean, that's a must-do when you go to Bristol on Saturday night. Sorry I missed it. Thanks for the photos, Kevin. Pace cars in. 226 laps to go. When they hit the stripe, we're back under green. Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch on the oldest set of tires, lap 204. Almirola's are about 35 laps fresher, and this group all got tires at 232. Chase Elliott in ninth place has the newest tires.
Yes, side by side, several rows back. I think Chase Elliott really likes that outside lane, but he's stuck in the inside underneath Ryan Newman right now. See Matt Kenseth at the head of him. Bubba Wallace also up there on that outside lane.
Is this fun racing in this swarm, or is this work?
It's intense. It's intense, Mike. It's fun when you've got fresh tires and a faster car and you can drive by them.
Kyle Busch wants the lead, and he's got it. First time he's led today. Overcoming a speeding penalty back at lap 60.
I think what I find more fascinating what he's overcome is an ill handling race car. We saw earlier in this race he was getting passed by drivers that you typically wouldn't see passing Kyle Busch. So that tells me that they've done an excellent job tuning on this race car to get it up to speed.
Clint Boyer, Ryan Newman side by side. Looking back from Kevin Harvick, who is 11th. Second place, Eric Almirola going for second on Denny Hamlin. Not that time. What do you say we get a Sunday short track crank it up going here?
This looks good right here. All clear, all looks good. Still inside. You got momentum. Door quarters clear.
You saw Jimmy Johnson take 4th. You saw Chase Elliott break back into the top 10 briefly. Kevin Harvick going back by him, and Martin Truex making a green flag pit stop.
This is one of the longer runs we've had all day. You're really starting to see those grooves change again. You saw Harvick now. He was to the inside of Chase Elliott. Now he's moved back up to that top lane. Going to the outside of Bubba Wallace.
Kevin Harvick might have got a piece of the wall here a couple laps ago.
I mean, oh boy, just kissed it. But I mean, you could just see how much on the edge of that rubber where it's laid down, and how close and easy it is to jump over that and get into those marbles and get into the wall.
Still clear, out of line.
Didn't stop him though. He went right back up there the next corner, Mike.
He was trying to get past Bubba Wallace, who was out of the race early Thursday night with another broken hub. 2 races in a row. That's happened to the 43. Eric Almirola came to play. He had quite a run at Denny Hamlin for 2nd place, but now Hamlin has secured the spot from Almirola's advances. 200 laps to go in the Supermarket Heroes 500, presented by Food City. Kyle Busch in command. .190 laps to go in Bristol, where Kyle Busch has been to victory lane in NASCAR's 3 National Series, a total of 22 times, most all time by any driver. And let me correct, Martin Truex did not pit. It was Matt Dibenedetto who was going behind the wall with the 21. This is Kurt Busch's car. Trying to hang on and keep from going 2 laps down to his younger brother. They will both be in the booth tomorrow night for the Xfinity race on FS1, 7 p.m. Eastern, with the Busch brothers.
Mike, the stat that has me the most interested with Kyle Busch as he finally puts Kurt Busch a lap down, is that last year at this time, after 8 races, the 18 car of Kyle Busch had led 498 laps at this point last year. This year, coming into this race, only 14 laps led.
Wow. A front tie rod broke on Matt Dibenedetto's car. That's what put them behind the wall. And again, Martin Truex did not pit. Truex is in 12th place. Last pitted lap 271.
Hey, don't count this guy out. Matt Kenseth. Now, he hasn't raced here since 18, but he finished 4th in both of those races in 2018. Whoa! Austin Dillon getting really loose off of turn 2. You hear that? Those rear tires spin, the RPMs go up.
Sixth place, Harvick and Dillon. Now, Harvick was in the pits lap 255, Dillon at lap 232. And Jimmy Johnson is battling for 2nd with Denny Hamlin, Eric Almirola with them.
Well, remember, Denny's on a little bit older tires than Jimmy, but Jimmy's doing a fantastic job on the longer runs right here. His car seems to have a lot of speed. Starts out really loose. We saw some big moments with him early on in the runs here, but right here on this long run, it's very good.
I like the way J.J. Yaley backed out of it at the entry to the corner to stay way up high and not impede that battle, which continues side by side. And looks like Johnson prevails, but Hamlin comes right back at him.
I just love the way this racetrack is right now, where you have these 2 different and distinct grooves that are working for different drivers. Allows you to get through traffic, allows you to make those passes.
And they get single file with the lap car of Brennan Poole ahead on the inside. 178 laps to go. 8th place, Matt Kenseth, Chase Elliott. Chase's dad won this race in 1988. Hall of Famer Bill Elliott. Third place on the right of the screen. Hamlin trying to hold off Almirola.
And just creeping into the picture behind them, Christopher Bell in 5th place. Almirola's had a really strong car all day long. And very similar to Jimmy Johnson, the back of that car steps out early. It's very loose, but on the long runs, that's what you need to roll through the center of the corner quick.
Ray Galding scrapes the wall up between turns 3 and 4, but we continue under green. Matt?
Mike, Denny Hamlin, as you mentioned, trying to hold on to 3rd, but an impressive display. Remember, this is the 2nd of a 4-race suspension due to that loose ballast issue at the Coke 600. Crew Chief Chris Gabehart back in the JGR War Room could not be any prouder of how these guys have responded to this challenge. In fact, he sent out a quote to his teammates and said, "Champions aren't made in their best days, they're made in their worst." How are you going to react? So far, I'd say they're acting like champions. Solid effort by the 11.
Austin Dillon slows coming off turn 4 and into the front straightaway.
He's going to try to get to pit road if he can. I don't know. No, he's caution is out.
Pit entry, and that'll put us under caution for the 12th time.
Looks like a right front tire, Mike.
He was in 7th place. And
see, he goes into turn 3. Just car won't turn the right front. I don't think it was flat at that point. It was just going down, and he knew he had a problem. Does a nice job rolling around there, and then comes down here to 1 and 2. Makes a little contact.
He had pitted at lap 232, so he didn't have the oldest tires of the group out there. Eric Almirola calls in, says he's worn out the right front, battling. So pit road is open. Matt?
Cam Watt and Jeff Cordero, the changers on Kyle Busch's Toyota, they're going to work. Busch says the car a little bit tight in the center and then a little bit snug as he works his way to exit, but not bad. But where he has a little bit more of an issue, he loses a little bit more of the air off the nose when there's other cars in front. So aero push is what he's been dealing with the most. A slight change on the 18. The teammate, the 11, Denny Hamlin, you saw him start to fade. His Toyota gone to the snug side as well. An air pressure adjustment on the 11.
Chase Elliott in pit stall number 1, the last one to get to his pit, but often today the first one out.
Yeah, that's that carryover from the finish in Charlotte on Thursday. Allows you to pick your pits based on that finishing order. See the 18, the 11, 22 off pit road first.
Everybody pitted here at lap 331. Corey LaJoie will get the free pass. There's Kyle Busch's stop. Quick work by the JGR crew gets him out first. Kyle Busch chooses the inside for the restart on Denny Hamlin. Eric Almirola, Chase Elliott, row 2. Christopher Bell, Jimmy Johnson, row 3. Kevin Harvick, Martin Truex, row 4. Kenseth and Jones, Logano and Boyer. Here we go. 20 lead lap cars. Everybody on fresh tires.
Mike, not a lot of time left to make those big adjustments that you need for the long runs and to get to the end of this race to try to win it. So I'm pretty sure if there are adjustments needing to be made, that was your time to do it. You're only going to have maybe one more shot at it.
Christopher Bell, Eric Jones, Kevin Harvick, and Martin Truex all in a big knot for 6th place.
And Mike and Jeff, that caution came at a pretty opportune time because that kind of evened the strategy out that Adam Stevens and Kyle Busch, that 18, had. Everybody pitted there because now everybody can make it to the end on fuel.
Yeah, Larry, give Adam Stevens a lot of credit, to be able to stay out there, get that lead, and then, to get to that stage of the race, to get the caution, to now be leading this race with fresh 4 tires. But you got to have the car and the driver to be able to do that, and they do in Kyle Busch.
We had speeding penalties under that caution, including these two. Keselowski, Logano, Bubba Wallace, and Austin Dillon were all nabbed for speeding under this caution flag. So they started 16th through 19th on the restart. Then the free pass car of LaJoie, 20th. Tenth place, Kenseth and Boyer. Those two have been keeping pretty close company
Yes,
much of the day, Jeff.
And I want to give a shout out to Clint Boyer. We saw earlier where on those pit stops, he had the right rear sticking way outside of his box. Kyle Busch was pitted behind him, had trouble getting around him. That time, he did a nice job getting all the way into the box. It was a clear out for Kyle Busch on that last pit stop. Oh, Kenseth gets loose into turn 1. And that's what I'm talking about on adjustments and long runs. You have to have a car that rotates early in the stage because the cars are going to tighten up, and as that car tightens up, that's when your car is going to get a lot better. But you got to hold on to it here at the beginning, as Matt Kenseth is trying to do as Clint Boyer goes to the inside.
Boyer had a birthday yesterday. He said in a tweet that he kind of leaned on the right front pretty hard these last few years. Thinks he's going to be okay.
If there's a party, I can promise you he's leaning on it.
He turned 41.
Matt Kenseth going up to the high side, trying to help that loose condition, see if that car will tighten up.
On the long run, or at least deep into these races, Joe Gibbs Racing back to the front now with the first 2 spots, Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin. First Chevrolet is Chase Elliott in 3rd. The first Ford is Eric Almirola in 4th.
But Mike, it doesn't seem to matter. Darlington, Charlotte, Bristol. This is what we've been seeing with these Joe Gibbs Toyota drivers. They're not really nowhere to be found early. You look up in the last part of the race, and there they all are, flirting all over the top 5, top 10.
Right, and no surprise, right? Look at that top 10. You've got Joe Gibbs Racing. You've got Stewart-Haas Racing. You've got Hendrick. The only one that's kind of a bit of surprise, but it does have an alliance to Joe Gibbs Racing, is Christopher Bell in the Levine family racing car.
Riding there with Kevin Harvick in 7th. Christopher Bell just ahead with 150 laps to go in Bristol.
Friday night.
Welcome back to Bristol, where Ryan Newman has brought out the caution. 145 laps to go. Watch for his number 6 sliding up off the corner.
Very similar to what happened to Ryan Blaney earlier in this race. See, he just gets really loose up into the marbles, turns it around, locks down the brakes, and keeps it out of the wall.
So while we're under caution, time for our Credit One Bank ones to watch. Who has first pick? Oh, Jeff.
I do,
Yep.
but I got my eye on this 25-year-old rookie, Christopher Bell. He won the spring race in the Xfinity Series a year ago, and this guy's finished 9th, top 10 in the 600. He is starting to get very comfortable in the Cup Series, and I like it.
One to watch. We're at Bristol. He's the only one to watch. Kyle Busch, 22 wins across the top 3 series, including 8 Cup wins, gets that season turned around here.
Larry Mack, the 2nd week in a row. I disagree with you. The guy who's going to win, the team behind me, Denny Hamlin. Now, they gave it away last spring, recovering from that speeding penalty to finish 5th. Won in the fall, but he didn't take the lead until 12 to go. He's got plenty of time to get past his teammate.
Well, Chase Elliott has momentum. He's led 79 laps today. He has never won a Cup race on a short track. He's never won back-to-back, but he has the momentum. And those are our Credit One Bank ones to watch. Props to Jeff for not taking the blind obvious. Larry, not so much.
I handed that one over to Larry.
Yep.
Cars on pit road.
Ryan Preece gets the free pass under this caution flag. Joey Logano hits his box. William Byron and Matt Kenseth nose to tail.
And this could, be an interesting way to, if this race goes all the way to the end, 140 to go once we probably get the green.
Logano got a chassis adjustment on the right rear.
Yeah, we had only run 20 laps. The only way I really bring my car to pit road right there is if I just felt like I still, to your point earlier, Jeff, just still off of my adjustments.
So several of the leaders chose not to pit under this caution flag.
Yeah, no way if you're, those top 6, 8, 10 cars that you want to give up that track position.
How much brakes do you use here at Bristol? Watch the right front of Joey Logano. A lot of brake dust there.
Yeah, you can see the inside of that wheel. I mean, it's not like Martinsville. It's not like maybe a road course, but look at how fresh you see that right front wheel now that they put a new tire on there compared to that old one. So no doubt with the less downforce, these cars are using a good amount of brake getting into the corners.
Yeah, and I think you obviously, we've had these cars a lot in traffic. The more you're in traffic, the more brake you're going to use.
So the top 10 drivers back to, top 9 drivers back to Brad Keselowski did not stop under this caution. Let's have a look at our Credible.com race summary. Kyle Busch is your race leader, one of 7 drivers to run in the front spot. 14 lead changes. It'll be 21 cars on the lead lap with the addition of Ryan Preece. And we've now had 13 caution flags. Chase Elliott has won both of the first 2 stages and looking to sweep all of those playoff points today. Kurt Busch has been on and off the lead lap. He did get lapped by his younger brother a second time, 2 laps down. Waving around to be 1 lap down here. And that little piece that was blowing in front of our camera, it's gone.
Yeah, I think that's the least of his problems. He made really hard contact with the outside wall in that Stenhouse spin.
We're going to listen to Eddie DeHaan, Chase Elliott's spotter.
Yeah, behind Jimmy. All clear up. Yeah, but 2.5.
How about Denny Hamlin here taking the lead back from Kyle Busch. Saw Kyle Busch get pretty loose down on the inside lane. Well, 3 wide back here, Matt Kenseth. See Almirola with those fresher 4 tires, as well as Truex on fresh tires also.
Nemechek doing a nice job in the top 15 here.
Ooh, did he have some help there from the 2? I couldn't tell if he just got loose or had a little help, but it was close.
You call that help?
Oh yeah, little contact, contact. Nice job recovering for Almirola.
Thirteenth place at stake there, Logano and Almirola.
I mean, I really think that this outside lane is the place to be here late in this race. It seems like for a couple of laps you need to be on the bottom, And you see a bunch of them ahead of Austin Dillon here as we ride on board with him. But I think that about 4 or 5 more laps, you're going to see him just gravitating to the top.
Jeff, is this as hard on the drivers as it is on the folks at home? You're going from full sunlight to full shade every 7 seconds and then back again.
Yeah, I mean, you get in such a rhythm, you almost block that out. It's more about the conditions of the track. The track temperature's hotter where the sun is beaming down on it, so the conditions or the handling of the car is going to be completely different in those shaded areas.
Denny Hamlin trying to drive away from the field as Martin Truex, Brad Keselowski discuss 9th place with John Hunter Nemechek.
Yeah, what a great job, John Hunter Nemechek. Again, we've been talking about this kid about every week. The fantastic job that he has done. Give some credit to that team on pit road and the pit strategy also to get him in this position with 4 fresh tires. Now, remember, Keselowski is the last of those cars that stayed out. He pitted on lap 330, so fresher tires all the way around him.
Last fall here, or last August, the race went green the final 113 laps, Matt.
And John Hunter Nemechek, this young man just continues to impress. They've been working slowly on the balance. They have it where he wants it. He's hugging that bottom. One thing that he can't really adjust, he told the team a little bit earlier that the mirror on the A-post fell off a little bit earlier in the race. So all he needs to do is look out the windshield.
Corey LaJoie makes an extended pit stop under the green flag with 127 to go here.
That's 2 of our rookies, though, right now that's running inside the top 10. Christopher Bell in the 95 is 5th, and now John Hunter Nemechek in the 38 is 10th.
Christopher Bell in our 5th position.
Let's take a look back at 15th place. 14th for Byron, 15th for Bubba Wallace. And I've just been handed this, and I don't have time to read it, but it headlines Tuesday is National Bubba Day. You can't make this stuff up. June 2nd every year, National Bubba Day. Okay.
You know, Bubba.
Martin Truex had a close encounter.
Oh, and has another moment as Joey Logano put some pressure on him, trying to move him up the racetrack so he can get position. Well, Truex did a great job of getting a run to the outside of Logano to then get position in that inside lane down in the next corner. Teammates here, Clint Boyers, Almirola, and remember Almirola with those fresher tires going to the inside of Clint Boyer.
Yeah, the first of the cars that stopped at lap 357 most recently is Nemechek in 8th. Well, now 9th as Truex goes past him. Both of them are on fresh tires. So is Logano, Almirola, then Byron, Dillon, Wallace, and McDowell.
I mean, if this thing goes green to the rest of the way, I'm going to be very curious to see, especially a guy like Truex in that 19 car with 4 fresh tires. Will those 20+ laps, fresher tires, pay off at the end of this run if it goes green all the way? It's going to have to go green for that to pay off, I think, in any way.
What do you think, Larry?
Yeah, I think to Jeff's point, we've really not had that many long runs, but I think if this thing did stay green and we do go deep into, say, close to the end of this race, I think that could pay dividends. But, right now, the top 7 are on they pitted at lap 330, and the thing about it, that's 7 good race cars, too.
That's true. Denny Hamlin leads teammate Kyle Busch by 0.3 of a second with 117 laps to go. We'll take you Fox side by side. Just over 100 laps to go in Bristol. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, recognizing those who are starting to help us all move forward again. Goodyear, official tire of NASCAR. Fifth place is the battle between Bell and Harvick. This is happening about 3 seconds back of Denny Hamlin, the race leader. Behind them, Martin Truex has dropped a spot, saying his car's handling is evil.
Boy, Harvick made that pass look pretty easy there. Christopher Bell went to the bottom lane and just slid up in front of him off of turn 2. What an education this young rookie is getting right here, running behind Kevin Harvick, one of the veteran drivers in this series.
Bell now just outside the top 5. Hamlin and Kyle Busch, 2 Toyotas at the front. Here's Matt.
Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch last pitted on lap 330. Denny says the car is starting to go free on entry. That's where you can see the 18 closing. In fact, Kyle said on the radio, tell him that I'm faster.
I think Denny would say, tell him I'm the leader. You got to pass me. Now, some of those comments are probably, as you see, Eric Jones going to the inside. Oh, you got Bell that almost jumped over the cushion there and got in the wall. He's extremely loose. Oh, here's that battle heating up for the lead. Now, that loose condition was probably when Hamlin was running the bottom of the racetrack. He'll try to move up and see if he can't build that right front tire up a little bit and maybe help that looser condition on entry.
2 Gibbs Toyotas leading 2 Hendrick Chevys, leading the Stewart-Haas Ford of Harvick.
I mean, throw a blanket over these guys right now, and then they're closing in on lap traffic.
When do you ever get a rest here, Jeff? Caution laps?
Yeah, you barely catch your breath, just under caution. I mean, this place is so hard on you. The loads in the corners, because of that banking, it takes your breath away. You have to hold your breath. So the only time you can catch a breath is on those quick straightaways. You're only on the straightaway for about 4.5 seconds. So every straightaway, I would take a deep breath, go to the next corner, hold my breath, take a deep breath. You have to get into a rhythm, because that is very difficult, physically on you when you get to this stage with 100 laps to go.
So kind of like a swimmer's rhythm breathing, but add G-forces.
Exactly. And cars going 140 miles an hour around you and inches away from the wall, and 800 horsepower into the hood.
All that and more.
You could see how hard these guys are racing. Kyle Busch, I don't know if you noticed that, he just had the back of the car slide out on him. I can't remember if it's on the exit of the corner or not, but he's driving hard. He wants to put as much pressure on his teammate Denny Hamlin as he can. Stalk him, be in his mirror, move around the racetrack, find ways to be faster than Denny. Find a pick of one of these lap cars that he can work to his advantage.
Right now it's all about who has the best long run car. At Charlotte Thursday night, Kevin Harvick had the best short run car, but after 30 laps it's like a light switch turned off, and Harvick car would not corner. What are we going to see here in these next 94 laps if we stay green?
Well, one of the things that contributed to that for Kevin Harvick was the pace that dropped over a second. Aerodynamics so important. That splitter height is crucial at a place like Charlotte. Here, the lap times really have only slowed down about 0.4, maybe a half a second. And so the loads and the speeds in the corner are still very high. Actually, with that top groove, you almost run the car faster through some portions of the corner because of that high groove, and the grip that's up there.
The Chevys have come to life, Jeff. Both Johnson and Elliott are faster around this racetrack than Hamlin and Kyle Busch right now. Larry.
Yeah, I just was going to tell Jeff, I'm seeing something interesting with Denny Hamlin. He tries to jump back in the gas early, Jeff, but he has to get back out of it maybe once or twice. Where you look at Johnson and Kyle Busch, they pick the throttle up later, but they're able to kind of stay in it gradually.
Well, yeah.
And here comes Johnson to the inside of Kyle Busch, who had been working on his teammate Hamlin for the lead. It's on in Bristol with 89 to go.
Man, it is on right here, and you see some telemetry on Hamlin. He can't get wide open till really late off the corner, and he's not in the full throttle for very long. On the brakes, going in the corner. You can see he just gets on the straightaway, just punches it for just a split second. It tells you the grip level is pretty low for these guys right now.
If it's low now, what's it going to be like 80 laps from now?
Well, in the middle of the corner, it has good grip in the middle of the banking. And when the car's loaded, but as the car comes out of that banking, that's where the rear grip starts to go away and why they have to feather the throttle. Also in the entry of the corner before they get into the banking.
I have a feeling lap traffic's going to come into play here as they get back into the lappers.
And Denny Hamlin's searching right now. He's trying the bottom groove. He's trying the top groove. He does not have the race car that Kyle Busch has right now.
Great aerial coverage, and here are a couple of the slower cars.
You saw right there a big run by the 18 of Kyle Busch to the rear bumper of Denny Hamlin, but the lap cars are going to save Denny Hamlin a little bit right here. Now look at Kyle Busch going to the inside.
Hamlin went high, and that's where J.J. Yaley is. That hole may close up on Hamlin.
There's not enough room there. Nope, there it goes, the lead change. Boy, Kyle Busch did an excellent job looking ahead at those lap cars and using that to his advantage.
And J.J. Yaley got as far out of the way as he could get. And now Jimmy Johnson racing for second with Denny Hamlin and that 103 race over streak on the line. Nice move by Johnson, puts him up into second place. 4/10 back of Kyle Busch.
Yep. This is a really good racetrack for Jimmy Johnson here in the last several races. 5 top 10s in the last 7 for Jimmy Johnson. So this is a track that he can start to put together those finishes that he's been looking for here in 2020.
There was contact between Chase Elliott and Daniel Suarez as Chase went by, and here comes Harvick going after Elliott. Not this time. Here's a look at the contact.
And we talk about lap cars and how important it is to time those passes. He gets, ooh, man, he got a huge run off the banking, and it looked like Denny Hamlin was coming up the racetrack. I think Suarez was trying to let Denny go by and checks up, but Chase Elliott had a huge head of steam, ran right in the back of him.
What's more dented, his bumper or his temper right now?
Both. You know what you don't, it's what's underneath that, you know, nose that you'd be worried about. Is there any kind of ductwork that is affecting the aerodynamics as this lead heats up as they come up to lap Matt Kenseth? But you just worry about the aerodynamics of anything that can affect the car and the airflow into that radiator and those brake ducts to keep it cool.
And Kenseth can be a tough out, as they say in baseball. He does not want to go off the lead lap.
You can see Kevin Harvick's car a little bit different than on Thursday in Charlotte, where Kevin Harvick was fading on the long runs. Looks like maybe Chase Elliott's car's starting to fade a little bit compared to Kevin Harvick's.
A long green run here to maybe finish this one off 75 laps from now. Kyle Busch, your leader. We're going to go Fox side by side. Caution is out with 66 to go. Kevin Harvick and Eric Jones involved. And here come the leaders. Matt.
Great run, that final segment there, Mike. You saw Kyle Busch. He was starting to lose the nose a little bit. He said it was really loose on entry and even more so off, but he was also chattering that right front as well. Left side's going on. Let's see who's going to win the battle on pit road between the 18 and 48. A little bit of trouble on the left.
And Johnson ahead of Kyle Busch on the exit of the pits. Now, not everybody stopped. We'll review that when they come around. Kevin Harvick's string of 13 straight top 10 finishes in jeopardy here as he brings the caution out, and we'll complete pit stops and then have a look at replays.
Denny Hamlin's going to beat Jimmy Johnson and Kyle Busch. Look at Kyle Busch not wanting to be in that inside lane, playing a little cat and mouse game there off the exit of pit road.
So let's take a look at why we're under caution with 65 to go. Harvick, bottom of your screen, coming into the picture.
Oh man, I don't know. The car just went straight up the racetrack. Erik Jones nowhere to go. It's right on board, Kevin.
Side.
Man.
You're all good here. You're going yellow.
I mean, you could see right there. He just went in the corner and absolutely would not turn. You saw the left front changer was a little bit slow on Kevin Harvick getting that left front tire off. And here's that fight and battle as they exit their pit.
And Kyle Busch again having to swing around Clint Bowyer's car and tire changer, and a tough exit to his pit box. Well, we talked about Matt Kenseth being a tough out. Let's give him a single because he is now the free pass car. He gets back on the lead lap due to this caution.
And a little bit of damage to the right rear corner on Kevin Harvick's car from where Erik Jones made contact with him. That is a very sensitive area on these race cars. Even on a short track, you need that side force and down force to have good handling and good speed. Broke the saw right there, and the sawzall trying to cut that piece off.
Here's what we're racing for. The Supermarket Heroes 500, presented by Food City, surrounded by groceries, and that soared to the winner of the last great Coliseum. There's your winner's trophy and the spoils of victory.
Boy, hard to find a trophy like that you're more proud of. Takes a lot of work to get one of those things. 500 laps around this place.
Oh, the hood is up on John Hunter Nemechek's car. He was running in 11th place. Back down and back out. I believe he will stay on the lead lap.
Well, that's a bummer. What a great performance John Hunter and this team were putting together here today.
Overheating is the word from his pit.
Jeff, we talked about Matt Kenseth getting a free pass right there. Can you imagine running your last race in November of 2018 and coming back and doing the Coke 600, Bristol Darlington, and the man still hadn't turned a lap of practice?
I can't even imagine those challenging conditions there, Larry. Tough break for the 95 Christopher Bell, uncontrolled tire.
And Austin Dillon caught speeding on pit road. So they will all go to back for the restart.
Long day and a lot of pressure on that last pit stop, what we believe would be the last pit stop.
So everybody stopped back through Austin Dillon in 15th, and we bunch up for the restart with 61 to go.
Denny, excellent job getting out there, bringing along Chase Elliott. You can see why Kyle Busch wanted to be in that outside lane.
Jimmy Johnson stayed on the bottom. He could have cleared Joey Logano up to the top, but chose to stay in the bottom for the corner, and there's why right there.
Yeah, like we've seen in previous restarts, you might be able to run that high line for about a lap, and then you want to get down to the bottom as quickly as you can, and then the top group starts to come back in. But Kyle Busch is trying to make that outside lane work here early. Oh, we see an issue with Bowyer maybe getting up into the wall. He and Newman maybe made some contact.
Now that's back at 11th place.
See Stenhouse. I'm sorry, Keselowski had a run on the 6, sort of moved him up the racetrack, and Clint Bowyer nowhere to go.
That was a big slap. That was no happy birthday there.
Chase Elliott putting a lot of pressure on our leader, Denny Hamlin. Oh, Denny slipped right there. Not quite enough, though. Only about a quarter of a car length up the racetrack. You can see he's running, he's straddling that rubber just a little bit different than Chase Elliott. He's got a run on him now.
Now watch the top lane and what kind of fire off the high groove that Hamlin has.
Oh, Denny may have moved up to let Chase get to the inside, but I promise you he's going to fight hard for this position. He's not going to give it up.
He gets great drive off the top. Trouble is, it's the long way around.
And that's what you're doing. You're just trying to run the bottom as long as you can until those tires build up and that top groove comes in. You can see it's there now for Denny Hamlin. Now Chase Elliott going to try to the high side.
And Jimmy Johnson comes up on the inside.
Denny's back down to the bottom. I really think Chase prefers this top groove. It's just when does your car come in? When do those tires come in? And you're ready to get to that position, get to that part of the racetrack. Now you can see all these cars around the bottom.
Well, in our Fox bet for $70,000, right now, 28 of the players have 5 of the 6 drivers in the correct positions.
Well, I hate to say this for those folks, but to me, you got Kyle Busch, who was the loser on that restart and is in 6th position. I don't see him staying there.
That was Jeff Gordon, folks. I was not going to burst your bubble.
I'm so sorry.
It's all right. We're going to get blamed no matter what happens. Don't worry. But there is Kyle, 6th after restarting in 5th place.
3rd, actually. I believe he started in the 3rd position.
I'm sorry, my mistake. No, I have him 5th. We'll double check. And you are correct.
Yeah, remember when they came off the end of pit road, he and Chase Elliott were battling because they did not want to be in that inside lane. Kyle Busch tried to let Chase Elliott go by. Chase Elliott knew exactly what was up and said, no, you go ahead. And look, that was pretty costly for Kyle Busch. I mean, you could also go back to that left front tire change, you know, and that whatever issue they had getting those lug nuts off the left front, that cost them enough time to lose the lead. And then that ended up putting them back to 3rd position, with Jimmy Johnson getting the 2nd position off pit road. Now Kyle Busch finds himself in 6th.
Matt?
Jimmy Johnson just lurking back there. It takes a little while for his car to come in. Now Cliff Daniels made a small adjustment to try to help the car in the short run. Let's see how it all pans out.
Elliott to the high side looking for the lead. He's got the big run off the corner. Looking to the inside now and draws even.
Boy, he might.
Greg Galding in the wall.
Now the question is, was Chase Elliott ahead of Denny Hamlin at the last timing loop to get the lead, or is he going to go back to 2nd?
15th caution flag of the day for Greg Galding.
So let's set this up. You saw where Chase Elliott pulled ahead of Denny Hamlin. There are timing loops around this racetrack, and when the caution comes out, NASCAR will go back to the last loop, and at that loop, NASCAR's telling us right now, Denny Hamlin was the leader.
I believe Daniel Suarez should be the free pass car. And here's a replay of the incident with Greg Galding had been running the top groove and running way up close to the wall. A little too close that time. Larry Mack, 42 to go. What would you like to do?
Well, if I'm anywhere up inside about the top 8 to 12, absolutely staying out. We've only run 18 green flag laps, and we're going to go back racing with less than 40 to go.
So with 21 cars on the lead lap,
so he might be the first taker. Of course, Keselowski's going to be the contrarian and be the first one to peel off onto pit road.
From 9th place, Brad Keselowski pits, and most of those behind him are in. Not sure. They might have just put 2 on Brad's car. He was out quickly. .40 to go. I guess, Larry, your bet is made right here.
Well, yeah, whether you change 2 or whether you change 4, I mean, Mike, it looks like to me just a quick count. We probably got a dozen cars that stayed out. I don't think that's a race-winning move right there coming to pit road. Maybe it buys you a little better finish at the end of this thing.
So Keselowski from 9th was the first car to pit, still working on that overheating condition on Nemechek's car.
Well, remember, Keselowski's one of those teams and drivers that he stayed out earlier in the race, but was the first car when the cars that had 4 tires were behind him, and he lost several positions. So I think in Keselowski's position where he was at, 9th position, I think he just didn't want to be the last car there to not come.
Okay.
You really, I mean, even with that many laps, you're just kind of a sitting duck to those guys that have fresh tires and how they can attack you on that restart.
Well, this short track is about to deliver us a typical weekly short track feature. It's going to be about a 35-lap race from here.
And we know, what is it? Cautions breed cautions. I mean, the intensity is going to ramp up. There's going to be less give and take. We've already seen some of these restarts get pretty wild where cars are getting loose underneath one another, making contact. I expect a lot more of that.
Larry, Keselowski was the first car to pit road. He took just left side tires?
Just left side tires. I just had looked at my sheet here, and it just had popped up to left side tires. So that's kind of interesting as well. I don't know. If I was going to come to pit road there, I believe I'm going to go ahead and get 4 tires.
Well, and we do know from Goodyear that they've told us the left sides do wear excessively. A lot of it is because of that traction compound and the rubber that builds up on that lower groove. But I'm with you, Larry. I don't know if that's the move I'd want to make in the closing laps of this race.
But let's point out Keselowski has a win. He won the Coca-Cola 600. So when you have a win in the bank and you're locked into the playoffs, you can gamble a little bit. Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott. There's a look at how they'll restart. And we're back to green with 37 to go.
Chase Elliott with the battle from the outside of the 22 of Logano, taking advantage of that outside lane. Boy, an issue for Truex further back, and you saw there Chase Elliott trying to get up in front of the 18 of Kyle Busch.
Trouble down in the corner, up and in the wall. Martin Truex, Eric Almirola, and Michael McDowell.
We saw Truex had an issue. I don't know if he had contact with somebody, cut a tire. He didn't get going on the restart. Then they went down to the next corner, and then all this happened.
16th caution flag of the day. Bunch of used up race cars there, 3 of them. That all happened.
You can already see the 19 sideways right there through 3 and 4. Loses a lot of momentum. Little nudge from the 34. Goes into the corner. Oh, Bubba was pushing the Almirola into the corner. That sent Almirola up and made contact with the 19 of Truex and sent him around.
Another look at it. And let's ride with Kurt Busch through this scene.
When you looked out ahead, you could see Bubba was to the rear bumper of Almirola. Then the 2 of Keselowski got to the rear bumper of Bubba Wallace. So they were all pushing and shoving one another into the corner. That's typically the results when you do that.
Boy, Michael McDowell had a decent race going to that point and with no damage on his car until he got caught up in that.
Yeah, one of those drivers that stayed out, get some track position. Probably come down pit road, fix that damage, get 4 fresh tires now.
16th caution of the day. 20 is the record.
We don't want to get to that.
Timmy Hill gets the free pass.
That's not a record we want to set, is it, Mike?
Of course not. The highlight package might take a while here. Kyle Busch has to dodge Clint Boyer. Later got a speeding penalty. Ryan Blaney slid it up, spun it around. He was going to be okay, but Ty Dillon thought the hole would be at the top and turned left, hard left to miss him underneath. A little too late. Couldn't get slowed up, and both cars ended up out of the race. Ricky Stenhouse gets turned by Jimmy Johnson as he was trying to avoid Matt Kenseth, who lifted, and 4 cars get piled up out of the race. Reddick, Custer, Bowman, and Stenhouse. Chase Elliott wins stage 1 and stage 2. And the most recent of 16 caution flags. Bubba Wallace into the back of Eric Almirola, into the side of Martin Truex, and everybody into the wall, including Michael McDowell gets a piece of that.
You know, Mike, all it takes is one little moment for your car to step out and you lose momentum, like what happened to Martin Truex Jr. that got him into that position down the next corner and then sent him into the wall when Almirola was being pushed by Bubba into the corner. But you know, you go back and you relive those moments. You go, man, if I just hadn't gotten loose here, I wouldn't have been in that position.
So by my count, 8 cars stay out. Everybody else on the lead lap to pit road.
And to me, all of this is helping our leader, Denny Hamlin. You know, those tires get a chance to cool down. He gets to control the restart.
However, the closer we get to the checkered flag, every restart creates a greater sense of urgency for everybody behind him.
No doubt. We've seen where Joey Logano in that 22 car has some very fast short run speed.
Line them up and let's go.
And now Kyle Busch is going to get the advantage speed in the outside lane. That sort of insult injury for Chase Elliott. He started on the inside of the front row, lost 1 position. Now he'll be inside of the second row.
So it's Hamlin outside Logano, Toyota against Ford. In row 2, Toyota of Kyle Busch against the Chevy, the Camaro of Chase Elliott, who has teammates in row 3, Jimmy Johnson and William Byron. Bubba Wallace up for 7th, Keselowski 8th, Boyer 9th, Newman 10th.
What are the chances we have another caution here, Mike?
I'll let you know about that in a second.
All right, Larry. Well, let's get this restart in first. Green flag.
You're clear by half, 18's there barely. You'll beat 18 to the corner here. Outside bumper still there. You're clear, 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 clear by half, by half, by half. Pick the lead you want. In line.
That's TJ Majors, Joey Logano's spotter, calling the restart. Kyle Busch up for 3rd.
When Kyle drove really hard in the corner, you see that car bottom out, and in the racetrack it go up the racetrack a little bit.
Everybody around the bottom now.
Some of the fastest lap times, even on these older tires, we've seen all day. Chase Elliott able to get by Kyle Busch. That was a big move. And Joey Logano taking a look at our leader, Denny Hamlin. Denny's going to open up the door just like he did for Chase Elliott earlier. He'll open up that door, but he'll work that high line.
That's it. Denny likes that run off the corner from the high groove. And look at him scoot away from Logano, who's really going to have to send it in there to stay even with Hamlin.
You can really close up the center of the corner, entry center of the corner, but it's that exit where you pay the penalty on the bottom lane. Ooh, boy, that was close.
Guys, as I watch Denny Hamlin and Joey Logano running side by side here with 23 to go, the last time we were at a short track at Martinsville last fall, they didn't have any love lost for anybody.
No.
Might not here either.
All right, Larry, 23 to go. I'm going to hold my breath while you give the trends.
Well, I looked at the last 10 spring Bristol races and the average of the last caution. comes right about now, lap 478 with 20 to 22 to go. But in those 10 races, 4 times in the final 20 laps, and we've had 2 overtimes.
Thank you.
Hey, don't count out Keselowski. I know we only got, what, 21 laps to go here, but those 4 fresh tires on Keselowski, he's moved into 5th position.
Whoa!
William Byron get loose as Boyer goes by. Boyer also, he's the next car behind Keselowski with 4 fresh tires.
Now it's almost a quarter of a lap of clear track ahead of the leaders, and then lap cars are going to come into play once again.
Oh, you had some contact right there with Jimmy Johnson, Quinn Houff. Hopefully he doesn't cut down a tire.
And a lot of good bit of damage on Houff's left front.
You can see the damage might cause the left front tire of Quinn Houff to go down.
He is 17 laps down. Broken spark plug wire for Nemechek, we're hearing. Not sure if that has been fixed or not.
All these leaders, these top 4 or 5 guys, all running about the same lap times. Kyle Busch working that inside lane on Chase Elliott. It's going to, if it stays like this, Mike, it's going to be all about lap traffic.
Half a straightaway ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, they're coming up on them quickly. And when they do, it's just going to be all about how you navigate, how you plan, how you look out ahead. Remember when the lead changed with Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin? Kyle Busch saw those lap cars coming, was able to change lanes and take advantage of it, get position to the inside of Denny Hamlin. He's still working that inside lane. He's got a ways to go to get up there to Denny Hamlin. So now Joey Logano is going to have to try to plan that move. And as Joey's trying to plan that, he's got to be careful because he's got Chase Elliott coming pretty fast on the high line.
All right, a couple of lappers on the inside. BJ McLeod down and out of the way.
Oh, Denny gets high.
And Logano gets the lead. Elliott's going to get second. And maybe the lead.
Take more, yes.
Chase sends it and takes the lead.
And Denny
Hamlin
goes around.
Goes into the wall with McLeod, and caution is out.
Can you believe that? Our leader, Denny Hamlin, gets loose, gets up into the marbles. The next corner, Joey Logano goes in there, and the same thing happens.
Only Bristol, baby.
That would be a caution in the last 20 laps.
Yeah, would that be a trend there, Larry Mack?
Yes, it would. We didn't hold our breath long enough. Well, we said lap traffic would be a factor, and it ended up being the factor here, but it's Hamlin just way too high to start this.
Yeah, I think Denny just got too high. I want to see what happens with the 22. I mean, he just sends it in there and just drifts up the racetrack. I can't say that he and Chase Elliott made any contact.
Nope.
I mean, they were close, but yeah, it just looks like Logano just carried a lot of speed trying to jump up in front of Denny Hamlin. Unfortunately, he carries too much momentum up to the top and goes and gets into the marbles and into the wall slightly.
Timmy Hill's the free pass for at least the 4th time today. And the lap cars, McLeod and Smithley, they were staying down low, out of the way as much as they could. I don't really believe they were a factor in this.
No, they weren't a factor. See, so now Denny's going to come. He's going to make contact with Joey. When he does, look at how it plants that right front and turns him around. Joey must feel like Chase Elliott made a little contact with him. I'm not so sure about that.
I don't think I saw that.
I mean, he definitely would have gone in there and maybe packed some air on that left rear to loosen him up.
Well, Denny Hamlin's got a lot of damage coming to pit road.
Well, this ought to be pretty exciting here. Inside 9 to go between Chase Elliott, Joey Logano, and Kyle Busch. Keselowski on those fresher tires is going to be starting in the outside lane.
Hamlin makes his stop. Only a few takers on pit road now, with 22 cars on the lead lap. Chase Elliott has had a you couldn't script this restart to the season. Turn on the last green flag lap at Darlington into the wall by Kyle Busch, who finishes second, and then the call with 2 laps to go facing a green-white checker. Chase comes in for tires, gets back up for third, but could not catch Brad Keselowski, who won it. And then Thursday night at Charlotte, a big win for Chase and Alan Gustafson. Redemption, maybe. Momentum, certainly. And here we are with 8 laps to go, and Chase Elliott leading at Bristol, where he has never won in a Cup car. In fact, no short track race. Checkered flag for Chase Elliott in the Cup Series yet.
Yeah, we've seen him win on a road course, but not on a short track. He was in position to win in Martinsville a few years back. That late battle, he and Denny Hamlin made contact.
Well, this makes 4 races in a row where Chase has been in position to win with less than 10 laps to go.
I mean, no doubt about it. This team is strong. There's your crew chief, Alan Gustafson, one of the best crew chiefs I ever worked with. This is a smart guy, builds a fast race car. I know he took a lot of criticism at the 600, and you know that's part of being a crew chief. You take that on your shoulders, but he's also should take a lot of credit for putting this car in position to lead a lot of laps and win that race on Thursday and have a shot at it here. But he's going to have to beat one of the best on restarts in in Joey Logano and Kyle Busch and Keselowski.
3 cars back up into the top 10 after trouble earlier. Eric Jones in 8th, Austin Dillon in 9th, Bubba Wallace in 10th. Kurt Busch back on the lead lap. He's 11th ahead of Harvick. Harvick trying to keep that top 10 streak alive. His number 4 will be 12th on the restart. Chevy, Ford, Toyota, 1, 2, 3. Elliott, Logano, Kyle Busch. Pace cars in, folks. It'll be 5 laps to go at Bristol. And Chase Elliott brings him to green with a sizable margin over Logano and Keselowski.
This is where it gets tricky for Chase Elliott. Which lane do you pick? Joey Logano's right on the bottom.
Can Chase get the drive off the high side that Hamlin did? He did that time.
Now what do you do? Now Chase is going to go the high line. As Logano goes to the bottom, he's going to get clear almost. They might make contact here.
Almost, but not quite. Is Logano faster in the bottom than Chase is up top?
Oh, yes he is. He's going to get that lead.
But can he keep it? 3 to go.
Wow, what a battle here. They touch.
Little bump and run there from Chase Elliott.
Oh.
They're up and in the wall. Here comes Keselowski.
Wow.
And Kyle Busch. Oh my goodness.
Boy, Chase just sent it in there and got loose, took them both out.
2 to go. Keselowski, Boyer for second from nowhere. Johnson third, Kyle Busch fourth, Eric Jones fifth. White flag, 1 to go, sponsored by Credit One Bank, only at Bristol.
Unbelievable, unbelievable. Those tires working for Keselowski and those leaders.
He's going to steal another one.
Yeah, he is.
2 Sundays in a row.
Great job.
Brad Keselowski wins Bristol. Can you believe it?
Can't say I saw that one coming, Mike.
Let's go to Vegas, Jeremy.
And not to race. Their luck is with them.
We would have, yeah, he's drawn the pole. You see the damage to the 22 car Logano.
So there are your unofficial results, with Chase falling to the tail end of the lead lap, 22nd. Logano dropping to 21st. Oh boy. Used up 2 race cars.
Well, Logano was already not real happy with Chase Elliott when Chase got the lead. Then right there, they were battling. I mean, it was just great, hard racing.
They're going to be a while sorting out this one.
Yeah. I guarantee you, Logano's no happier now than he was. But this guy's happy. What a win.
Brad Keselowski said, let's go win 30 more. He's up to 32 on the win list now. Aerial coverage of our victory lane provided by Goodyear. From race days to even better days ahead, Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. All right, let's rewind and sort this out as Joey Logano climbs out.
And I don't know if Chase Elliott was going to try to slide job Joey Logano. He just didn't have enough momentum. And instead of going to the bottom and hooking the bottom in that traction compound, he drives in there side by side with Joey Logano. And it just... There you go. You see Chase Elliott getting out of his car. Joey Logano very frustrated and upset getting out of his race car.
Brad Keselowski burning down the house. And these two fellows.
Joey just staring down.
Yep.
Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott not wanting to look at him at all.
And Clint Bowyer stealing second at the end of this one. Okay, so here's the conversation.
Clearly trying to, walk through the steps, explain from each angle or the perspective that they had.
I'm afraid, Jeff, they're going to have to agree to disagree.
No doubt about it, Mike. You want to see good, close, hard racing, and we definitely saw that as Joey Logano goes by Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott makes a little contact, moves him up the racetrack, gets position, makes a little more contact. Now, right here's where I expected Chase Elliott to go to the bottom. He doesn't. He just slides.
He did. The car wouldn't stick.
Yeah, exactly. He may have tried, but it definitely didn't stick. Here's that little bit of contact down the back straightaway.
Yeah.
No, nothing wrong with that. Then they go into the corner, and Chase just carried a lot of speed in there. It looked like the car just jumped loose right as he was transitioning over the banking, or from the straightaway onto the banking, and he was just holding on tight when it did that. Great job by Joey Logano to get that move made on Chase Elliott as Chase Elliott moved up to the high line. And Chase said, well, you got me on the inside. I'm going to go to the inside.
Look at Bowyer. Look at the head of steam he's got to come from 5th place to 2nd and Johnson to 3rd.
Yeah, Kyle Busch had a big loose moment trying to avoid that incident.
All right, before we sort it all out, let's go celebrate with the winner, Matt.
Brad Keselowski down here in turn 1. You saw it through the windshield. You saw it on the big screen. Being in the right place at the right time pays off.
Oh, my goodness. I think everybody on this discount tire Ford Mustang team is going to go to Vegas. Is it open yet? Because things have been going our way from the luck of the draw and the qualifying to, the last few laps there. We couldn't get anything to go our way at the start of the race, with cars staying out, and kept getting the bottom lane on restarts, Matt. And just nothing was working out. Then right at the end, we came in, we put 2 tires on the lefts and drove up to, I guess, 4th or 6th, I don't know, something like that, and put ourselves in position. I could see Joey and Chase, they were getting really racy there, and I didn't know what was going to happen, but I knew if I just kept my eye open, Matt, something good might happen, and sure enough it did. So incredible day. I mean, I'm so happy for the team. This was a never give up effort, and that's what we're becoming as a team.
Never give up effort. His 3rd win here in Thunder Valley, Mike.
32nd career victory for Brad Keselowski. 124th for Team Penske. Well, here is the defining moment of this race as Chase Elliott sends it down into the corner. It doesn't stick. He and Joey Logano are into the wall. Keselowski gets the win. Clint Bowyer gets his best finish in a long, long time. And Brad Keselowski, he's your winner in Bristol.